My name's Andy Law. Welcome to my living room where we gather to play Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay every week for LAWhammer! I am hoping that this time we have sound. And I'm going to presume by the fact that I haven't had people saying, Andy, no one can hear you! Ah! Panic! That we're good to go. That being the case, hey! Ruins! Also ruins. We're finally moving on to Book 5 of The Enemy Within. It's fair to say that our version of Book 4 was almost nothing like the printed version. So we're really moving on to our made-up version 5 of The Enemy Within. The Empire in Ruins. Now, if you've read the book, which I presume most of you haven't, or have you read about it, which I presume most of you don't. I did indeed. The official version ends up with the Empire not in ruins.
Have you met us?
I remember sitting down. I remember sitting down chatting with Graham about the different names that we could choose because the Enemy Within campaign has its original version that was called The Empire in Flames to conclude it, and Empire at War was released as a fan supplement, and it was also released as a book by Black Library, which we were considering as a title too. And Graham and I bandied backwards and forwards about different names, and Empire in Ruins is what we landed on because as we were just finishing off the first synopsis for it, it was pretty bleak. The end of it was boom as a potential, and it was, as most of you out there probably know, originally pitched as the adventure that takes you from Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition that was written all the way back in 1986-7 to Warhammer 8th Edition, which blew up about a decade ago. And it was the bridge, the one that shows you how you got one version of the Empire and it became another. And Flames and Ruin was a core component of that. Because the Warhammer 8 version looked nothing like what you had in Warhammer First Edition. Let's see where our one goes. Knowing our PCs, I imagine it's going to be easy. There's going to be no explosions because we definitely don't have explosions in our show. Ever. No big booms. It's going to be fine. Everything is going to be great. Looking forward to where this one's all going to go. I imagine, as is often the case before we have a big potential boom, it will start off slow.
Challenge accepted.
Let's see how it goes. Particularly given that, well, you know, when we last left it off, somebody wasn't quite who they claimed to be. I wonder who that was.
Albrecht.
Yeah. And that gave us quite a conclusion. And somebody else isn't quite what they thought they were. Yeah. So where do we go next? Before we decide, somebody out there, a certain special somebody, noticed something on one of our character sheets. Now you might be going, wait, what? You can see our character sheets? Yes, you can. All of our character sheets are available online. You can go over to Patreon. All you need to do is go type in character sheets and you'll find a link that goes through to everyone's current character sheet. And you can actually see what they're using and what they're playing with if you desperately wish to do so. And one particular fellow spotted something. Can you tell me more, Mr. Ed?
I can! And I will!
Excellent!
Yes, so I have had a secret code in my character sheet for about a year now. And one of you very clever people cracked it, sent you a little audio message to say well done. But also as part of that, just a general well done from us on the stream to EJ Cruising!
Well done. Very impressed. I mean, not everybody gets to see a code inside a secret sheet all the time, so that was pretty goddamn brilliant. Right.
Yeah.
Other than that, experience points. I think we should probably get some.
Yes, please.
The last episode was almost a tale rather than an episode because it didn't involve our core characters. But we were all there, and it kind of did. And at least one of us had our actual character there. You could argue that all of the previous episodes after pretty much It Was Right didn't have all of our characters in them.
Yeah.
Because
I've got to refund like 8,000
No,
XP.
that was 2 episodes ago. Last week was our character.
Oh yeah, last week was your characters. Yeah, totally. But we've got XP to get.
Not your character.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
XP.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
XP. For going on a trip in our favourite
Rocket ship.
It's not a rocket ship. It's not a rocket, truly. It's more of a big air balloon with a big engine at the back, chug, 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 powered by black water. But yeah, and our favourite rocket ship, zooming through the skies.
Little Jaegers.
Little Jaegers. Yeah, we went on a rocket ship. We met gnomes. Oh my goodness, we met gnomes. They were very friendly.
Terrifying.
They were super, super friendly. Definitely not a problem. What else did we do? We saved our midwife from the Skaven. That was good for her. And anything else?
Reunited with Lucas.
Lucas?
We recovered Barracool.
Recovered the helm.
Barracool. And then what happened to
I need to mark my
Barracool?
XP
It
for
got
that.
stolen.
It got stolen.
But
So
for a brief period, it was recovered.
yeah, absolutely. So that being the case, we have ourselves a set of XP to get for our short-term and long-term goals?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
short-term. What short-term goals have we got?
Party short term, we located Lucas.
Find Lucas. We found Lucas.
Freaking brilliant. I've actually done one. I love it. Any others?
I did my
recover-
short term, recover the helm.
Recover Barracool.
Yep. That's 50 for each
Not
one of those
for
that have
me.
been successfully done. Ding, ding, ding.
Nice.
I've got to wield a rune fang. Haven't done it yet.
Should have done it before he stole it.
So
Yeah, well, that's why I was like, quick roll, I want to grab the rune fang.
Right. Are we done there?
What about actual XP?
Yeah.
For the
Would,
group.
would anyone like to change their short-term
Oh shit.
ambition?
I would, but it's a bit of a spoiler to see what I want to change it to.
Oh, right. Okay, well, why don't you type it as a note over to me? Pass it over on Discord.
I'm sure you can guess what it's going to be.
I'm pretty sure I know what it is,
So
but
I'll
you're
just
right.
put it on
it's
my
a spoiler,
character
so-
sheet for the
Yeah,
record.
no, because people can see that. So ping it over to me.
I'll write it here.
Can I make mine to convince the North to ally with the Countess? Is that a plausible one?
I like that.
What are the chances of us meeting Dagmar again?
Not very high.
I need to find somebody else to dismember then. I'll have a think.
What about our party short term? Do we need to think of that now?
Don't all
Well, while
go
you're
at
doing
once.
that, XP. We successfully retrieved the artifacts. Now, admittedly, some of them have gone through a somewhat circuitous route. I'm getting a note. Super
Yes,
secret
we
note.
forgot- well, we're going back.
What's this?
Too clever.
Lindsay thinks that Dan smells. Okay, cool. Good to know.
Right, I need to put this to rest. I do not have bad body odor.
I didn't say it was bad.
I smell like a normal human being. With smell.
Distinctive doesn't mean bad. Distinctive doesn't mean bad.
100%.
This
A
is
normal
ridiculous.
human being.
I bathe
Twice.
sometimes.
Like 3 shirts, but that's.
We successfully retrieved the artifacts against all odds. Now, admittedly, one of them had been not through a circuitous route, a very circuitous route that involved going through there, getting picked up by that, going to a Skaven, going through that way, then going to an elf, and then going over there, then going all the way around there, then going to other time, then going over to the Skaven, then coming back over and then getting picked up. Wow, that was a route for good old Carrick Zornaz, but you retrieved it. The helm, that just went through a storm of magic. It was fine. But also retrieved. We have managed to definitely empower Middenheim to the north by supplying those artifacts back to their, let's call it, rightful owners. Meaning that you get yourself a mighty 175 XP each, plus 1 fate point each.
Yes!
Oh my god! No
I'm gonna
way!
live forever!
I'm gonna learn how to fly!
Does that include my birthday one from last week?
It doesn't include that. That's on
Oh,
top of that. So you've
beautiful,
actually
thank you.
gained 2.
Thank you.
Yeah, indeed.
Nice.
And it wasn't a birthday one. You successfully guessed it. And yeah, you changed it and I gave it to you because it was your birthday. But whatever. You successfully guessed who the naughty people were
That is true,
in the
yeah.
Countess's chamber.
What's our new party short term ambition?
That we have to discuss.
Okay, I guess I wasn't listening when we were told we had to discuss that.
Yeah, we all
I've
went
just
silent
outed
as soon as
myself
it was.
as a non-listening
Well,
part.
Are we trying to start a war or stop a war?
Stop a war, I think.
What about
What's going on?
what about destroy the outdoor big rat?
Oh, I have one.
Well, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Destroy the outdoor big rat.
Outdoor
Big
Not
rat.
the outdoor
Okay, not the
one.
outside.
Door.
The alfresco one.
That might not be so short and more
Yeah.
medium term.
Okay.
What
Yeah.
about find a way to tell who doubles are
Ooh.
and who they aren't? So to ascertain if Boris is a double, Katerina's a double, Birdie's a double.
Doppelganger
Doppelganger.
detection.
But I thought we did
Yeah.
that with the big rat. Like that like
Well,
by going in the big rat, and if you can get inside the
But-
person, they're a clue.
I do believe you blew that up.
No, there's the other one in outdoor.
Yeah, you don't have that though.
But wouldn't it
Yes.
be better not to have to go to Altdorf
I mean,
and
sure,
be in
yeah.
Altdorf and like
And go down into
Wouldn't
the
it
Under
be good
Empire,
to, like,
meet all the Skaven, dance
find
by
a
going,
way
hey, hey, it's okay,
to-
I'm just here for the big rat.
Sure. Yeah.
there's a
It's a
very
silly place.
strange female Graceer down there we don't want to bump into.
Yeah.
A female Graceer. In my Warhammer.
like the
Hashtag not my
Spengler.
grace here.
Like the Spengler gold thing that told us if Spengler was Spengler, if we each had a little artifact that we could wear that would go like boo 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 if the person was a goblin, a Skaven fake.
That's a great idea.
A goblin, did you
What's
say?
I don't know where that came from.
It's attuned to, well, you have to know the original first for Spengler's thing to work.
Well, I'm not saying it would be like it would. Similar to Spengler's thing, so it would vibrate if
This-
you were
this
near a
doesn't feel
Skaven
like a
double.
short-term
This
thing.
is getting longer and longer as
This
it
is
goes
a
on.
long-term thing rather than
Because
short-term.
I'm
It's
looking for a
sort
certain
of yawning
point.
into this whole artifact creation, career change so you can study
Well,
how to
we
make
do have-
artifacts. It'll be great.
And
I can make daggers.
Okay, it doesn't need to be an artifact. Just find a way to tell
If you stab
whether
them
they're
and they die.
like the witch.
There we go,
burnings,
I've
right?
got one of them.
If they drown, they were
Dismember
innocent, and
everyone.
if they float, they're Skaven, and you have to kill them. Okay, got it.
Seems perfect.
Let's just murder every person of import in the Empire in the interest of safety.
And then Andy
At
will
least
make
we
us
know
all,
they're not a double anymore.
Exactly.
And then we'll all change career to witch hunter, and it'll be great.
Yeah. Well, after we've done all the witch hunting. Wait, well now I can become a witch hunter.
We've done the thing.
So I think it's fair to say you're not sure, or
You bitch.
or a mid-term Skaven-y, detection-y, device-y, big ratty thingy is most certainly on your future. But short-term as a party, you're not entirely sure, possibly because one of your party aren't here. So how about I be kind? And I give you about a minute midstream when you're all together as a party to immediately, quickly come up with what will be after your discussion, and you might have decided that there's something that you all want to do together, what your short-term goal is.
It's short term, so it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be big. It's just this is what I would like to do. I don't think I'll get it done this session, but I might. And if I do, that'd be awesome. And if I don't, never mind. We tried. Okay, we
Break
good.
the news to Marguerite.
I sent you my short term as well because
I sent you two
Spoiler.
options for mine. I think I'm going to
That's
go with the
not
first one.
really a short-term goal. Hey, that works quite well, by the way. It just pinged there on my
Oh, did it?
wrist. Yeah, that was super cool.
Oh,
So
Oh.
now we can send you secret
Yeah, you can
messages.
send me secret messages by
I'll send
by
mine
wrist.
as well.
Just penis, penis, penis.
I
No.
don't know how fast we were getting to the place.
Oh, okay, good. Right, so having decided all of our ambitions, I think we're probably good to go unless anyone has anything else that they'd like to add beyond saying, yeah, thanks for a fate point.
That's
Thanks
nice.
for a fate point.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
I've got
Um,
another short turn that I'm switching out to, which is Jesus Christ.
This was
Right.
not something that we
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to open.
Can I?
This can of worms sucks. I'm going to get buzzed every 5 seconds now with messages saying, hey Andy, can I annoy you? Well, yes! Yes!
Talk to another Gerhardt clone.
Oh, interesting. That makes quite an interesting short-term one.
Yeah.
Might be long-term, might not be long-term.
Go,
Find
you're
out.
a clone, I'm a clone.
There's still
That's
the one
all.
with the Grand Theodge, right?
Although,
Yeah, I don't know that guy.
G-Dodge, yeah.
Oh, what if our party short term is destroy all the Skaven Chloe buzzy things? Because we know there's some in Middenheim.
Oh, the
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 scanners.
detectives.
Maybe
I
all is
don't recommend the word all.
yeah.
You're
Oh,
going to have to go
why
to
don't we-
Altdorf, Ubersreich,
13
Nuln.
Why don't we blow up Middenheim?
We've already done
Just
that.
like when we say Wittgendorf.
Yeah.
We
Let's
already
save Middenheim.
we already blew up Middenheim using other characters.
Plus the MRI devices, the mobile rat integration devices.
We could do 13
I've
then.
been coming up with that all week.
Good job.
The rat scans, the cat scans,
Rat
the
scans is
MRI.
Rat scans. Yeah, I quite like that. Yeah. We need to get started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Axial tomography.
I think it is time for us to get started with the Empire in Ruins. Are you all ready out there? You all ready to?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Ready for
Go
this?
it.
I
Na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
don't know where this one's going to go. Let us find out as we dive into what? Episode 59 now.
Yeah.
The North Howls. Snow. Snow. So much snow. A long column of knights. 4 wagons. More knights. Making its way along a road in Middenheim. The front knights. Knights Panther. Every last one of them. They're panther pelts pulled tight across their shoulders where they hub them. The blue and the gold, the barding, the wicker of horses, and eyes behind helmets scanning out towards the tree line, towards either side. They had been journeying for over a week, and the going had been quite slow, largely because Ulric had come early. The god of winter, war, and wolves had made his presence not just known, he had blanketed the world with his blessings. And for some Ulricans, that had one clear meaning. Now is the time to discuss war. The discussion of war is a core pastime to many in Ulrican, particularly given so many of them had recently returned to Middenheim. It's the end of campaigning season. Over the course of the next so many weeks, they're going to be returning from the various fronts where war had been waged by the Empire, whether that's up in the Middle Mountains against invading greenskins or beastmen, whether it's down in the forests, wherever it is that they may have been called. The individual temples will be receiving their white wolves back for the winter. No one expected the snow to be so early, though. It's still a good 2 weeks before a proper campaign end. Normally, the snow wouldn't come for a good month after that, maybe longer. Middenheim often gets its snow early, but not this early. It is quite unlike the other column, sitting some 10 miles away. And it is now reaching the point of almost sitting, because they're now camping out. The columns slowly but surely coming in. In numbers, closer to 500. Knights, priests, censors. And before them, the snow-covered mound of the place of the shining rock. Off to the side, an Ulrican has his arms folded, his hair and beard all caught up with snow, snow gathering on the wolf pelt, as he looks down at his short companion to the side and says, his short companion, in reply, goes, as he looks down and goes, he looks up and goes, the Den Father and his priest, 2 Ulricans responsible for looking after this particular holy site. Over on the other side, a capitular is looking very worried. His hand raising up to his head as he looks over at a high capitular who has arrived on horse, a barded war steed. Big moustache. They do love their moustaches in Reichland. An entirely bald head with grey hair sitting down the back.
Scarlet.
He'd never met the High Capitular of the Order of the Throne. Today he was going to meet one of his peers. Hi, capitular. He's just a capitular. But he's going to meet one of his peers. And he watches as he comes up. Looks up. Hi, capitular. Very good to see you. And the High Capitular looks down. Gets off his horse. Puts out his hand. Says, good to meet you, Capitular. He says, apologies for the rude arrival. Oh, no, we were aware you were coming for some time. I should go and speak to the Den Father. Oh, you want to speak to him? Yeah, I do. Right. The Den Father, standing beside his far shorter companion, looks down and says, oh, no, they want to talk to me. He goes, are you sure about that? He says, they normally don't want to talk to us. No, they don't want to talk to me. So I'm going to have to be on my best behaviour. Don't be, he says, don't be too aggressive. As the man walks over, the capitular falls in behind him and says, I trust the journey, we're all right now. Oh, yes, it's cold, actually. Oh, they're taking it as a sign round here. I take anything as a sign. That's just how it works, isn't it? The gods have no more interest in our weather than we do. Well, I'm quite interested in weather, actually, he says. Yes, yeah. I misspoke. He says, what's his name? He says, the father. He says, Den Father. Oh, right, yes. And he nods. He says, oh, don't worry, I'll find out myself. He says, you stay here. Oh, right, High Capitular. Makes his way over. Lupold. The large encampment is busy setting itself up. As you watch the two of them move over to meet, and then one, the capitular, the local, peel off. You have been wanting to see this place for years. Ages. You're actually slightly excited. You're trying not to be slightly excited, but you're actually slightly excited. It's not the most...
See this place.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's not the most fatherly way to react when... But you can feel it. You don't even need to raise your hand. It's so clear. The holy site. Sigmar was here. And you know it. You can feel it in your bones. Sigmar was once here, but more. There's so much more to this place, and you don't quite understand how much more. But there's more. This place is holy to both Ulric and Sigmar. And there's a part of you that desperately wants to know the real story behind it all. Because there's always a real story behind the myth. If there's one thing he's learned, is that myths rarely accurately reflect reality. He almost can't help himself from stepping a couple of steps towards it. He can feel it there, but he knows he needs to have permission. He's not allowed to just dive into the mound that is the place of the shining rock. He wonders what you'll find inside. Is it going to be crystals? Is it going to be big sharp weapons? Is it going to be big banners? What's going to be in there? I mean, he's read about it multiple times. So holy were those words, he could feel them with his fingertips. It claimed that it was full of sharp crystals. And you had to be careful when you crawled in. And you had to crawl in on your hands and knees. Prostrate yourself before this holiest of locations. That excitement stands in stark contrast, to the deep frowns hidden in the helmet of Birdie. It's been some time since you were here.
I did not miss it. I can't believe we're here again.
It's been some time since you were here. The last time you were here, it was awful.
Really
Truly awful.
Yeah.
And you don't even still, to this point, know what to call him. The not Lupold. The Notapold. The other, him. He came out and he was sort of giddy. After all the hell that you had gone through. And he was all like, I don't understand why you're not What was going on?
Can I not dismember him on my list?
Genuinely, as you were talking about hell, I was going, I don't remember being that bad. It went pretty well, didn't it?
No, something bad
What happened to
happened.
Birdie here? I don't remember.
So, blah, 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 blah. What happened
Did you
to
not see that
Birdie
she was getting eaten or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh.
it hadn't been for Sage's knife being thrown and used. She was face to face with the big eye again,
Yeah.
and it was threatening to eat her from the feet up.
Yeah, and you cut yourself on the rock as
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
my
the whole
face
thing
got
was
all
just a
gashed
horrible,
up.
horrible experience.
And the feather.
And here you are again.
Yeah, that was
And here you are again. You're not even there yet. You can't even see it. You just know that this winding path as you look up, that was a tree that you passed. It feels like it was 1,000 years ago. But Alamenowith was going on about spirits, and so was Ulric. And there was wolves hanging here. And you remember that someone, who was it? Oh yes. As you look back over your shoulder, herself, sitting on a coach, cold, like so. Gerhard, sitting beside her. Ulric in the back, not cold in the slightest, with his grimoire. She tried to cut down the wolves. You may have moved up, and Jiro had stopped her, saying that there were possibly an offering to the spirit of the tree. You can't be certain that it was done with ill intent. And then he just went mad. When he went into that place, he went mad.
Yeah.
And he went off in one. And he was throwing things at her, almost as if he was a man possessed, as if the location itself had somehow destabilized him, made something go wrong. You're going back to this place as your horse goes forward.
I'm still
Ahead
on
of
it,
you.
though.
Yeah. Ahead of you, the captain.
Are you strapped in?
I'm glued in the saddle.
Your captain comes forward as 3 knights. Oh, it is just like last time. Blazing hearts on their snow-covered tabards.
I cast another look.
Do they
back
just
at Elric.
live here? Does every time you come here, do they just
That
hub?
was only an apology.
As they, you can hear up ahead, the first one goes, "Ho!" And Knights Panther goes forward and says, "Are you the delegation from the south?" The delegation from the south. Alamenowith, you're sitting in your coach, mulling over what Katerina had said. The last 3 weeks in Middenheim have been, for you at least, pretty easy. Moving in and out of the palace, dropping down to Schmiedhammer's house where everyone had been put up by the ex-champion. Your arrival had been very difficult to hide. Crowds had gathered to see the arrival of the airship. And it's not the first time this airship has dropped here. Indeed, this is the first city this airship ever visited. And it drops down, and you had to try and figure out ways to hide an enormous, let's be blunt, fuck off blade. Designed to what? Cleave mountains in half. Karak Zornaz, peak leveler, wrapped up. No, we're not spiriting this into the palace at all. Nope, we're not. No, nothing to see here.
Just a replica.
Yeah, completely a replica.
It's a
Totally a
cake.
model.
It's a cake of the sword.
But that was then. Katerina coming to you in a half panic, having overheard one of the Knights Panther discussing what they had been ordered to do. And she'd been pretty blunt. A part of me wishes you'd never brought that blade back. If what I heard is correct, The Knights Panther have been ordered to assassinate. Well, and you sit there, rocking slightly in the back of your wagon. Whatever it is that you're going towards in the place of the Shining Rock, which should be a beautiful diplomatic place, sacred to both Sigmar and Ulric, and apparently, since you were last here, possibly Ladriel also. Mm-hmm. A sacred place. Not a place of bloodshed, but apparently,
famously not.
According to the princess, most of the people you're with have been ordered to murder the entire delegation.
That's my short-term ambition. Stop what Katarina told me is going to happen. Stop the murders.
Hey, Lupold, you're part of that delegation. Good times!
So can I have not let's see Alamenowife see me murder things? That's mine.
She's only following orders.
Yeah, totally fine. You've received no such orders.
No.
Indeed, when Alamenowife came to you all and explained, well, all bar one, they explained that the Katarina had managed to convince her father to let you go because of everything that you had done. And she is hoping that it will make it very difficult for the nobles, who the Knights Panther are, to react in such an ignoble fashion in front of people who will report back. They will. Which makes everything much more clandestine on their part. If they're going to do it, they're not going to be able to do it as openly. However, you're not as worried as you were before. As your horses and your two wagons crest over the hill and you see the encampment.
I'm worried in a different way now.
Have been convinced that the Knights Panther were ordered to kill the entire delegation. They're outnumbered 5-1 easily. But there's a very different issue. A very different one, which Gerhardt can't help but note. They're all Sigmarites. As he raises up every single last one of them. Knights, priests, censer bearers, chanting away, every single last one of them. They've sent an army of Sigmarites north. What are they even thinking? The temple of Sigmar in Middenheim is currently besieged by rioters, trying to burn the place down. And they're sending an army north? Do they want to fail?
This is like the plates all over again.
Yeah.
At least, though, the part of you that was thinking, how do I persuade a Knights Panther not to kill some Sigmarites, is no longer thinking, we've got 100, I'm expecting about 10. It's now, we've got about 100, they've got 500. Yeah. If anyone's going to be in danger, and I count them all, it's possibly us. But hey, that's not what you're here for, is it? You're not here to murder, maim, and kill Ulricans.
I'm not.
Oh, that's reassuring.
That's
what you said last time.
really good comment. And good to clarify that, as Yume lifts up her head and sees that place. In the centre of that, she didn't have a good time when she was last here.
Nope.
It sucked.
It sucked.
But she's had a lot of time since then, thinking about what this place is. And there's one thing she was certain of when she was last here. It was somehow connected to home. A home that to her is an almost distant memory. And Jiro had gone crazy. I mean, he'd gone weird. And now looking back in it, he was even more odd than her father explained he was odd for. He just went off on one, almost as if he couldn't stop himself, blaming you somehow for all of the world's ills, obsessively pulling out something that he might have kept for a little bit too long weirdo. And proving that you had somehow fallen. Something was weird in this place. And it was definitely affecting him. You're not entirely happy to be back here. Gerhardt's looking out over the groups, sinks back down. Yeah, about 500, you reckon?
He has a drink.
Yeah.
Whose carriage am I in? Are we in separate
You're
carriages?
in a completely different carriage. Separate.
So we've
No
each
one-
got our own carriage?
Yeah,
or just no one would go with the elf?
They're all, no one went with the elf.
Okay, got
What
you.
elf?
The elf doesn't exist.
Yeah. It's just a who man.
But we don't know this Alan.
It's Albrecht.
Yes, sure.
Birdie, you're the one that spots him. As you're coming up, and the knights are pointing down to the Ulric buildings, which are outside. They're not very big either. That are sitting outside the mound of snow that is the place of the Shining Rock. And that is where they're being pushed over to effectively set up camp. And as you're pushing down that way, and you can see a couple of Sigmarites, one with a very large moustache, chatting away with an Ulrican, sitting there nodding. There's some hands being shaken. Father Lupold. Father Lupold. Right over there. Father Lupold. He has his head turned away from over there, but you recognise the look. When he turns away like that, he's looking at. It's almost like he's hearing, listening, feeling with his head, his hand. And he's looking over at the place of the Shining.
How far away
Rock.
is he?
Oh, he's far. He's a good, from where you are, a good 200 paces. He's over amongst the Sigmarite camp.
Okay.
He's unmistakable, though. He's a tall figure. He's lean. He's got...
He's less lean than he was because I spent that massive XP haul on plus 10 strength. So he's significantly heavier than Shadowbolt was.
So he's thick.
He's tall. It takes quite a bit to fill out that body. He's going to need a good... Maybe, how many advances has he got in total?
16 now.
16, okay, yeah. He's going to need more before he's properly filling out. A good 30 or so. But
There's no
yeah,
Elric.
that's Lupold. You feel like you should tell someone because they might not spot that. Alamenowith sitting inside the coach just in case you get spotted by something, they'd take offence at an elf. Gerhardt's just back there.
Okay.
So's Yume. Elric's inside because witch.
But they could have at least put us in the same carriage. So we had some...
He's got wolf claws.
Yeah, but you're going through someone else's
licensed
territory.
witch.
This is Middenland.
A royal licensed witch.
Middenland. They care
Shut
nothing
up.
for. So,
Where's your patent of
what are you
nobility?
doing?
Permission to drop back, Captain.
Captain looks back, says, "Don't need to ask."
See, I'm trying to be a good knight.
I was really impressed with that.
Thank you.
Alamenowith would totally have slept with you if she'd heard that, but she didn't, so...
Hasn't she got really good hearing?
She said, not pull out.
So basically, I kind of drop back so I'm level with the main carriage, figuring that Alamenowith issue is maybe in the carriage behind would be earwigging.
Alamenowith sticking her head out the window like a dog. She's actually not.
Just a sorry, helmet off. Just a heads up. But there's a
Oh, Yume's broken. You've killed Yume. Just a heads up, you've taken your helmet off. Oh,
How about miles? Lupold's in the camp.
That'll sober her up pretty quickly.
there isn't only one witch with Ulric. There's a second, sitting at the back, reading a book. And she lifts up her head, looks at you, and says, "Oh, it appears we've got the father, Margarita."
Ooh.
She's been studying Gerhard. You have yet to tell anyone anything, because to do so, you just don't know. You don't know who's who, who isn't who. But what you can be certain is, it would take something pretty insane to be able to copy Margarita. And she, apparently, could detect one previously. Turned out, as she explained herself, to Gerhardt, to you also. I lied. I just killed him.
I thought so.
So we've told her the real Lupold wasn't with us.
We tell Magritte everything because at this point we're all in with Magritte.
Yeah.
Like,
So do we know
Didn't
this is
Marguerite
him?
know that it wasn't a real Lupold, though? I thought she was in on the...
no, well, she knew that there was a whole shadow thing, but we thought we'd got the real Lupold back.
Margarita didn't know.
No. The only person that knew after she fixed Lupold's shadow was Alamanaway.
Yeah. And she says, appears that we have Lupold.
The real Lupold. Or
I
another.
didn't say.
I'm not with them though.
No. Says, as she closes the book, and apparently we've arrived.
Head out. Or at least put his head out.
She does the same as well. She sticks her head out as an entire encampment of Sigmarites, slowly but surely laying themselves out, pushing snow out the way, laying out tents, starting fires, getting things ready as she scans across trying to find Lupold and completely fails to find him.
Were we expecting such a delegation?
No, we were expecting to outnumber them.
Surely, yeah, we would.
And they're all Sigmarites.
Does he see any of the Flaming Hearts people?
Uh-huh.
Ah.
It's your favourite order.
Ah.
Try not to get in any more fights.
Are you talking to us in the cabin? No.
Well, you stuck your head out.
You stuck your head and she said, no, no,
I
horse
didn't get
beside
in any fight. I owed an apology.
Sure. I'm sure that will go well.
Birdie puts her helmet back on.
So how do we know
you. Heads down.
if he's the real one or not?
Well, I suppose that the current position is that you, as my lovely wife, to be,
Presumptuous? She says.
sorry?
She says presumptuous.
Well, you know, you stab them and then you find something inside of them.
No, that's not true. I faked it all.
Yes, all that.
I'm sorry to say there is no way that we know, as of
No.
yet,
What
to
about-
detect them.
It would make a great short-term ambition though.
What about if he's really excited about going in, and we could figure out if that's...
Well, the last Lupold was excited as well. And it
Yeah,
wasn't
that's what
him.
I'm saying.
Yes.
But the last Lupold would be less excited because we had a terrible time here.
Oh, so he couldn't pretend that he was not
he
the
was
same.
never very good at pretending things.
Well, actually,
He just travelled with us for months, and none of us knew.
But that wasn't him.
And it also didn't know that Alamenowith knew. It gave no hint, no
It's a
awareness,
great
which means
actor.
that it's not all-knowing. If this one can speak to what Alamenowith knows, then it would suggest that this one is more likely to be the original of it. For example, simply says, "It was nice to see you at the ship. Sorry I jumped off." I think it's more likely that it's probably, well, that one,
I don't think it matters either way.
the sword thief.
So, yeah, let's see what he says first, and then instead of accusing him right off the bat.
No, I have no problem with
Stab
that
him.
either. She says as she sits back in. One of the benefits of having a wagon is that it's an almost instant encampment.
Mm.
Unlike many of the poor knights who are setting up large canvas tents of blue and gold, brushing snow aside, grumbling, many of them, as the men-at-arms are putting everything into place, knowing that they are going to be freezing. Absolutely freezing tonight. The delegation is far, far bigger than expected on the Sigmarite side. And we can skip over about the next hour.
Can I meet them?
No. Because
Okay.
the next hour,
I was going to drop back and knock on her window as well.
you're not sure which one she's in. She skipped. Each night she was sleeping in a different one.
Of course.
Because Alamenowith.
Stay in your wagon.
She didn't.
You can't make me.
That. The next hour is encampment, groups meeting, nobles from both sides, chatting, saying some things, and separating again. And you, -1, as a group, are in an interesting position of almost privilege. Almost privilege, but not quite. Because the leader of this particular delegation is not only known to you, has been told that you had to come along by the Elector Count himself, Boris, of House Tallbringer. He's not entirely sure why you're here, other than, a show of extra strength when we've already got a show of perhaps not quite as much strength as he could have had. There's a small part of him that wishes he had, I don't know, other 400
500
people
white
with him.
wolves.
Any white wolves. He has none.
Yeah.
He is a Middenlander to his core. A tall individual with long blonde hair hanging down, a big beard, and folded arms. You've spoken to him frequently. Mostly in the evenings, mostly in inns, mostly in an attempt just to figure out what the heck he's here to say. He's pretty close-lipped. He doesn't engage with many, and he finds all of you just a little bitty uncomfortable because you are not working on his remit. You are working separate to his remit. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't like it. And it causes a certain level of tension. There is an amount of annoyance that you exist, primarily because it comes hand in hand with a small expectation that you're just going to sidle up at some point. And just sit and watch. Just be there.
Or the wild cards. Wild card.
As the captain said, you don't need to ask for permission because you are acting on the Elector Count's authority.
So polite.
But it is, and he is, after all, the commanding officer of the Knights Panther. It's just you've got a slightly special position. And it is indeed beautifully summed up by a particular claw that sits upon her relatively plain armour.
You don't have.
Which he does not have.
Which captain?
I don't think.
Oh,
I don't think Andy said.
What was that?
You didn't say who the captain was.
Oh, I didn't
wasn't
say
You
which
said we
captain
knew
was.
him, and I was like, did I miss this? And
No, I haven't named him yet. You are in a position where you can find out what's going down, unlike others. So when he comes back to the camp, everyone else is pretty much expected to shut up. Do whatever he says. Leave him alone. You have already, like the gaggle of little geese that you are, gathered.
Well, not that little. Clank.
Clank, clank, quite.
Clank.
Gathered. Because there is the very real concern that he's under orders to assassinate his alternative number on the other side. Clearly. Out in the open like this, highly unlikely to happen. But you're not sure what he's been told to do by Boris, in the same way he's not sure what you've been told to do by Boris. Are you all on the same orders? He doesn't know. And clearly he doesn't like it at all. He folds his arms. He's a man in his 40s, and his name is Hunksa, a local baron. A baron that apparently Boris often turns to when it comes to diplomatic matters. Because, as Katerina put it, he has none. Manners or diplomacy. He frowns. Fuck. What do you want this time? As he just looks at this group that's come up to him. Well, if you're not going to talk, and he just walks past. Buddy. As he...
You only had a second. Where are you going?
As he goes off. I have things to do!
We'll come too.
We have things to do.
God, he hates you. He hates you. As he stomps off towards the
Safety in numbers. by the way.
recently erected command tent, his one, as he makes his way in. A group of individuals are sitting around a table as he looks up. It'd be fair to describe these as beards, because they are. They're big men with big beards, all gathered around a table with big furs on.
That was a table of women.
Not that kind of beard. Big furs on. As they all look up and they stand as he comes in. Lord, 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 Lord. Lots of my lords and sir, from the one at the end as he comes in. Looks back at his...
Entourage?
Seriously.
Bodyguard.
Fuck off. Looks forward again. Scowls, comes over to the table and sits down. Now, obviously, you don't have a place to sit. It's not your table, but you can just sit and watch.
We'll just we'll stand behind him.
Is there a drinks cabinet?
No, there is not.
Or a
We are
table?
not in Reichland, nor are these Reichlanders.
There must be booze somewhere. Barrel.
No, this place has just been set up. They haven't even got everything all organised yet. As he sits down and goes, they've sent a high capitula. Does anyone know Hindenston? Anyone here know Hindenston? As at the far end, one lifts up his hand and says, I bloody know Hindenston. His name's Volkmer. House Hindenston. He taught my son, actually. Oh. He says, fuck. Right. All right. So, well? He says, well enough, I suppose. He says, they're on some odds or another. He says, well, you know him being capitular and all. It's like I capitular up. You know Werner. You know Werner, don't you? He grumbles. Ah, well, Werner, he says, scratching at his head. Werner's an all right sort. He's high capitular as well, so... You got a problem with that, young sir? Ah, fuck off.
It's not just as he doesn't like them. That's good.
He says, so what's he like? He's a thinking man. Bloody waste of time.
I hear he's very direct.
Turns round. Says, you know him?
No.
And he points over at Big Beard number 3 and says, well, Big Beard number 3. Big old beard. Man in his mid-20s goes, all the superrats, isn't there? He says, they'll get all defensive, so, you know, punch him in face. I mean, not literally like, my lord. It's just, you know, you attack, they'll draw the defences up and all, and you can get an idea of what they're actually here for. I didn't expect there to be so fucking many of them. I just didn't expect there to be so many of them. Why there's so many of them? Well, they're just going to cause problem. They go north. Well, they'll be lucky if they survive. They're well armed. Says, well, you say that to Middenlander. They'll pull out their drawers. They got daggers. They all bleed. Fuck. Well, you know, he says, you represent Boris, don't you? What would Boris do? Fuck!
And we all nod in the back like, yes, we represent.
As he stands up, fuck! And he walks out, fuck! As he walks over to Ted, pushes out the road, messes it up completely, hits him in the face, pushes it again, fuck! And then stalks out. Oops.
I think that's our cue. Fuck. And
Gentlemen.
As you make your way out, he is storming off across the camp to his own personal wagon. As he pops up, and jumps into it, moves in the back.
Maybe.
Am I still not with them?
Oh, you're with him now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we should use this opportunity to find Lupold.
Yes.
I think so, but just can we perhaps not poke them quite so much? Because they're murderers. They're men who are used to getting what they want, and they've been faced with more than they expected, and you're bridling them.
I would say
When we want, you're doing it on purpose.
the intent is to put them on the back foot. If you're
But
not
they're
confident in your
Middenheimers.
position.
When they go on the back foot, they go for your throat. What you're doing is not putting them on the back foot. You're poking a man who murders people. You get that? Like if I poked Ulric, what would he do to me? If I just kept on punching him, he'd snap.
Yes,
And these are old men who have been used to murdering people their whole lives. They're raised for this. So can we please try and simmer down this febrile atmosphere, not poke them?
I disagree, but that's fine. We can continue.
You're free to disagree, but please tell me what you know about these men that I don't. What's your plan? What do you want to happen?
Well, I understand what you're saying in terms of somebody resorting to tried and tested means. However, they are also Ulricans, and they do understand that in this position they are very much already on the back foot. To push them more off it, I mean, you look at them when
they're
they're
not
already upset.
Ulricans. They're catty fucking panthers. And Boris sends them when he can't send the fucking Ulricans because the Ulricans who are backstabbing ambushes are too fucking honourable. Do you get that? He sent his fucking panthers.
Yes, he did.
Are they not Ulricans then?
Probably not.
Oh, right.
Nobles from across the empire.
The rich order boys.
Do you know what they
And
are?
it's mostly, and interestingly, now that you're here, they're mostly Middenlanders. The Middenlander group, well, Middenheimer group of panthers. Not from across the empire. Yeah, it's all right to get things a bit upside down.
Fine, no, all right. I'll not poke them anymore.
Thank you.
We do have a right to be involved in the discussion, though.
Yeah, but you don't. But being involved in the discussion is not what you two do. You look for the wine fucking cabinet, and you're gonna walk over there and be like, "I'm gonna take your wine, mate." You're not at a fucking pub.
Breathe, Almanawaith. You're getting as wound up as they are. We need to keep a calm head.
Why are you
Thank you,
irate?
buddy.
You're welcome. Let's go find Lupold and find out.
Why am I irate? Because I don't want everyone to die. Because I don't want this to be the spark that makes the powder keg blow.
Okay.
We're pretty much deciding whether a war is going to start or not. Like,
A war is starting regardless. We can just, I guess, influence the when.
We also have to stop a bloodbath.
according to the stories, if anywhere is a place to stop a war from happening, it's here, right? That this is the place where they talk things out. As much
I
as
agree.
I don't like
And-
it
but
here.
If Boris has told them to do what we think and they do it here, that makes it 1,000 times worse for what they'll do in response. I totally agree with you. This is the place to talk, but if they decide they're not going to,
Well, the other thing is, why have the South sent such a large congregation? Do they have their own orders? Is talking even going to be on the table?
Depends
I don't
who's
know.
giving the orders.
I mean,
5-1.
they're not gonna all fit in the place inside.
It's not necessarily about being in the rock.
well then, what I think you're right though. We should try and speak to Lupold. I've got an idea of how to at least ascertain it's not
Not Lupold.
Lupold.
The other one.
Before we go into that conversation, I absolutely agree. Next port of call. It's worth bearing in mind, of course, that we don't know whether it was Boris himself that briefed these people or whether it was a fake Boris.
Yeah.
While we were gone, he was cloistered and saw next to no one.
Oh really?
He only really appeared once we handed over peak level.
But that makes sense, right? He doesn't want to be seen in public without his sword. If he's declaring
Yes, but
war,
he
he should be
wasn't.
accoutramented with.
But I see what you're saying. What you're saying is a fake one. The
Has stuff.
Would want a
a
powder
fake,
keg.
but yeah, a fake one would want a powder keg. But also, if the other one was cloistered, it might have been easier to give fake orders.
Exactly. And he doesn't generally have peak leveler on him when he's taking
And-
meetings.
At
And we
times
know-
of war, he would.
But
though.
we also know that Githoj had
What?
an agent. What should we call them? An S agent, an agent, right, with him. Which
Yes.
means that
The other girl.
A doppel.
we had a doppel with it. Which means that
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, you
when
weren't there.
last time we were at the Shining Rock,
Yes.
there was another you
We
with,
have
with
told-
the G-Thodge.
We have told you this before.
Right.
G-Thodge is how you call the Grand Theogenist, isn't
Yes.
it? Yes.
So
Right.
G-Thodge had an agent with him, which means that if the Emperor was advised who to send north, then the same party that might be advising these people to start war has sent a group of loads of them to, like, what you're trying to say is right. It's both sides
Both sides
want a war because both sides are neither side; they're the same side,
trying
controlling
to just
both sides.
So we
cause
are currently in a
chaos.
situation where both sides want a war.
potentially.
Well,
No, we're in a situation where
We were
the
bunch of
side that
assassins.
controls everything, the key figures, wants a war, and these people are being used as pawns.
the question is always
Right.
who benefits, and it's the enemies from the north who will benefit from an empire divided.
And the enemies
And
and
ground.
below.
But yes,
Yes.
But in this particular situation, it's the enemies below who have probably caused those 500 or so people to be sent and have probably caused these people to have been given the orders they've been given.
And we have to
So
work
it's
on
the
that
same
principle.
side has told both what to do, potentially.
and if this is the real Lupold, why don't we stop talking without him and get him in?
Let's
If it's
go.
the real one.
Let's go find out.
It's an interesting question. Is it the real Lupold? What is the real Lupold? Gerhardt has been often thinking, what is the real Gerhardt?
How?
When?
Who is he?
He has
You
one
have
drink.
all of his memories, all of them, every single last one, but apparently you may not have existed for longer than maybe, I mean, you might be less than a year old, for all you know. Which is just horrible to think. Because you remember it all. All of it. All of it!
There is an interesting medical piece on this, is if you're less than a year old, are you technically relatively perfect inside?
It is interesting.
Depends if
If it's been made in a vat of like warpstone infused liquid, possibly not.
Or are you like Dolly the sheep? Like
I was
Dolly
just
the
gonna
sheep was her telomeres were shortened. Like she was artificially older, even though she was a baby.
because she was
Interesting.
the same age as the clone that
Yeah.
you took it from.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly.
You and I
Kat.
are.
Yeah. We've both been to the National Museum in Scotland.
Yes, we have.
It's all fake.
But your soul will have been around for longer.
Who was your soul?
The
Who
book.
is your soul?
It's a book.
No, but a soul isn't a book. A soul is a thing that was put in there. It had to be somewhere else first.
It's not told me. Or I haven't told myself.
Have you asked?
Don't know how to.
Engels would know.
I get a headache, and then now I just, well,
Maybe
I'll have
just
some wine,
just roll with it.
quite frankly. I can see why Sigfeder does what he does.
The Sigmarite camp.
Oh, Sigfeder with us.
Sigfeder is not with you. He's not physically capable of. Well, he can survive the journey. It's just not going to last him
He's
very
just
long.
stayed in Middenheim.
But yeah, he stayed up with Schmiedhammer.
We basically spent 2 weeks.
What about Lucas and?
Lucas is here. He's not with you just now. Lucas is here.
Cool.
The Sigmarite camp. It's busy, and already it has taken a certain amount of effort to protect itself against a random attack. It's clearly not going to be from the Middenheim quarter. But just in case it is, they already have large wooden stakes getting bashed into place, just to ensure that nothing should attack. Interestingly though, Birdie, as you get closer, perhaps they're not as obviously defensive for no reason than one could argue. Some of them are wounded and show the scars of having recently been in fighting, which is not what you expected.
No.
Already, a knight, not mounted, comes over to where you are, long white tabard. He has a big burning heart embroidered upon his chest. given you, it's gonna be you.
Gonna be me.
Yeah, where am I gonna address? This is hot with you. The night, it's safe. Because at the very least, if you're not the person to address, you'll immediately, honourably pass me on to the one who should, who says, the Sigma be with you. Is there anything that you need?
Sir Knight, indeed there is. Thank you for your welcome. We're looking for a particular Sigmarite priest called Father Lupold. He's a friend of ours. Obviously, we don't want to set the cat amongst the pigeons by just striding into the camp.
He
But if perhaps
twitches a smile at the side of his face when you say cat, looking at your panther armour.
Very nice.
Quite.
He's of the silver flame.
Father of the silver.
Yes,
He says, I know the one, the blind one.
that's the one. Yes. As you can imagine, we don't want to just go striding in there, causing trouble.
Yes, he does come from the north, I heard. Yeah, that's it. You go tell the Father Lupold, the blind one. He says, you know the one? Yeah. Yeah, the tall one. Yeah. He's got friends here. Yeah, I said friends.
Are work colleagues a thing?
Yeah, we're more at work.
And they call me the cat.
Colleagues.
Thank you, Sir Knight.
Erstwhile companions.
Thank you, Sir
Hey,
Knight. It's very
Lupold,
kind of you.
you don't even need someone. You can hear them. Talking. You hear the voices, familiar, rising out of the hubbub. Ha! Well, it's earlier than you thought. Oh, well.
Time to freak out the guy who's coming to get me.
The guy who's coming to get you meanders over.
And just before he arrives, I'll walk out.
Oh! As he says, Father, he
I
says,
know. Thank you.
This is why you're surprised with friends.
as he walks
Yeah.
Crank up the holiness. I know.
Whoa.
Bless him as
Is
we go by.
Emmanuel with us?
No. No.
I take it we've sworn her to secrecy about everything that happened.
Existential
under
crisis.
The pain of death.
Existential crisis.
Everybody.
Massive
Yeah.
existential crisis.
She didn't jump off after fake Lupold.
No.
Did she Lupold?
She was guided off.
Shoved.
Yeah, someone might have foot shoved her.
Oh, like a fucking nudge. She was right on the edge. Yeah. Threats have been made all round.
Father Lupold. Father Lupold. It's Father Lupold. You know what? He doesn't actually look the same. I mean, he doesn't.
That's a good sign.
His hair is a different length. You know, everything about him.
Probably in better nick.
Yeah, it is. Everything about him looks cleaner, tidier, more in shape. In fact, he looks sort of like he's kind of did almost when you first met him. Attention
More
to detail.
sermons.
I have a thing I'd like to do.
Is it point out that he didn't have eyes when you first met him?
No. A thing is, having travelled with fake Lupold, and now that Ulric has this new sight, does this Lupold look similar?
Does he have the darkness
Can I
within him?
please
Probably.
have a perception test?
Yes, success.
But
Can I have a look too for the Ulgu that I saw in the other one? Thanks.
Heish. It's still an uncomfortable realization that you can see it quite clearly now. Beforehand, Heish was difficult to perceive. In fact, you most commonly...
Perceived it.
Yeah, exactly. It's there. I passed.
I sang once and they were like, no, you're fine. Well done.
She was only the Emperor's daughter, right?
Holy, yeah, no. But, yeah, it's not so much that it hangs around him, because it doesn't hang. He emits light.
Similar to Birdie.
No. Birdie's stronger. Much stronger.
But in like, yeah, just like Birdie is.
Yes.
looking at the sun. He's looking through like
and
a veil.
there is, upon concentration, unlike, say, for example, Birdie, where you can't perceive anything else within her because the heish is so strong. With Lupold, you can. Gyron's running through his body. The heish is gathered more strongly in his mind.
All in your head.
Quite. As is a host of other swirls and colours and eddies and twists. You've still yet to properly pull them all apart.
So seeing things like that.
Yeah.
It's a weird question. It's kind of important people who have that kind of stuff going on in their head.
Not necessarily. Everybody's got a good mixture of stuff going on in them.
Because my kind of metagaming way of thinking is like people with fate points have all these
No,
extra
everybody's
things.
got it.
It's
Every
that.
single last person's got it. It's just he's got a lot of heish along with it too. And he's not the only one. Once you switch this stuff on, you can't just
You're
it all
manually
sort of
breathing
hits.
kind of thing.
And
No.
somewhat surprisingly, a significant number of the Sigmarites here are
blessed.
clearly blessed. You would guess as many as 30. And you can feel, and even more so, this spiral of light and colour. It's almost like a light show, the place of the shining rock.
Well, I guess you wouldn't.
Pushing off of it in all directions. It's almost like a fountain of colour.
Because I think last time he could only sense what he senses from it, but now he can see it, I suppose.
And it's a great spiraling, twisting mess of magic. This place is magically active. That's a thing.
Yeah, and I guess he will be...
He starts off like this. Oh!
But the thing is, it's not his eyes that perceive it, right? So he will just, his attention is on it.
Yeah, quite. Hey, Father, you've arrived. What do we have? We have our glorious heroes. Except things have changed. Birdie. Yeah, of course, Birdie. There's a small moment for you to go, yeah, of course, it's Birdie. Wearing a knight's armour.
They probably didn't perceive because of all the height until he was quite close.
Yeah. You can hear it. Clank, clank as she moves. Shifts.
It's not that loud.
Alamenowith, good ears. Alamenowith, you presume may or may not be here.
Who knows?
Where we are, she's usually around.
There's a gap there. She's probably there.
No, that's our human friend, Albert.
Yume, you can hear Yume. Her heartbeat, her movements, she's there. Ulric is responding slightly strangely. It's almost like he's rubbernecking. Not quite that strong, but he's definitely looking around at things. And I think that's Gerhardt. Well, that's a thing. Hey, Lupold has stepped forward.
Father.
Birdie?
Yes. We've a lot to tell you.
Yeah, it's been too long. Should we take a little walk?
Oh, yes. We have a lot to discuss.
You stomping off into the snow.
Yeah, or finding somewhere around a fire where we can talk.
So, how are you going to determine if this is the real Lupold? Has anyone got? We have a plan.
I've got an
I've got a
idea.
plan.
Oh, do you have a plan? You do yours first. I was.
Well,
Well, are we going to walk a little bit away? I
Yeah,
just want to
yeah.
get out of earshot of
Out
other
of-
people,
yes.
and then I'll start talking.
And then possibly out of earshot of
People who can
people
hear.
who can be
Yeah.
elves, for example. Not that there's any in your camp.
Did it work? Assuming I can hear her footsteps when we start crumping through the snow.
She's
Good
probably
luck
on
with
top of the
that.
snow.
You don't have shadow step, do you, as a talent?
You could just ask.
Yeah.
Well,
You
you're-
do have shadow step. Yeah,
Oh,
you
no,
won't be
I
hearing.
know, but
if you,
you're-
if you
you're
got shadow
pretending
step,
to
then
be Albert.
no, you won't be hearing because
It's-
she's a pain.
Well, unless she's pretending to be a human.
Yes.
Are you stomping around like a...
I'm certainly not elfing at that
I
point.
like
Good.
snow.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Alamenowith? Did it work?
Did what work?
What colour was the lantern that I burned in the room?
Well, I mean, I didn't see it. I'm imagining it was grey.
Yeah.
I forgot you don't have eyes.
For what it's worth, he looks different than the other Lupold.
Yeah. Better fed.
He's gone.
No, not physically, but etherically, he's different.
That's good.
Maybe you could swear that you're not going to betray us?
Do you have your ring?
Steal our magic swords.
If that might make us feel better.
I swear I
No,
won't.
no, I
No,
mean,
shake Yume's hand. It's been a while.
Wow, that is super dishonourable. But
I love it.
well, actually,
that
can
was
I
the plan.
do an empathic
No,
roll
fuck
to see
off,
if
mate.
she's
Just shake
got
the hand.
ulterior motives?
She doesn't have ulterior motive. She just wants to find out if it's her friend
She wants to
Lupold.
bind me magically.
very party.
Some
Kind of
people
sad
quite
of it.
enjoy that kind of
Like
thing.
it. Yeah, sure. That'll be contested though with
Ooh, interesting.
yeah, with your
I
charm.
thought-
wish I'd
do,
rolled
do
better.
you not roll the empathy so that
Not-
he
not
doesn't?
if I've got
No,
the
he's got
Oh, you got the
empathic
talent.
talent.
Sorry,
He's
yeah.
got the
What's
talent.
on my roll?
Just do a charm test. That'd be perfect.
So charming.
I don't know what my charm is.
It's super. You're super
Ah,
charming.
yes, 6 successes.
Yeah,
No,
beats
well
me.
done.
Oh, nice. Okay. Nice shake of the hand.
Yeah.
And
I swear I'm not going to betray you.
lovely. You'll see that. Only you'll see it. Can
I please do a detect artifact check?
Oh yeah, you absolutely can.
I knew you would do that.
Oh, that's either really bad or really bad. I think we're
Oh my god!
I'm going to fortune point that. 88. If I had advantage, it'd be a crit. But I don't. I'm going to fortune point that. That's a pass, though.
A pass gives you, while you're checking that, you see an enormous splash of it's almost like fingering needles of pink energy that just slaps into his hand, wraps around it, flies up his arm, rises out, and then sinks into his head. You see it piercing through the heish that sits there, causing the heish to dimple inwards.
Wow.
Right, we're safe from betrayal.
Fuck.
I don't think it did work in the sense that
I automatically detect it's magical.
Yes, good.
And I get 2 of its special rules.
Okay, 2 of its special rules.
When you
Get me special rule number 1, please.
when you detect artifacts, so are you saying I'm detecting that particular thing on her finger, or are you just detecting in an area?
No,
Well,
it's
I have
detecting
to
the one
touch
she
it?
touches.
So I touched it.
Yeah, he's got to touch it. And he did touch it when they shaked hands.
Yeah. I can't
You
stop
shook
it
hands.
happening, but I can know that it's happened.
Cool. So, if you shake on a deal, both you and the other party are compelled not to break your word.
It's not really a deal.
I mean, swear's not a deal.
Wait a minute.
Go off something. Deal.
Some would argue.
Okay, so
I'm not going to betray you.
Gaming the system as always.
so this is what you get. So tell me exactly what your rule does again. 2 of its powers,
2 of its special rules.
2 of its special rules.
Yes. You
Okay.
learn up to times you've got the talent.
Special
twice
rule
special rules has.
number 1. The bearer is immune to mind-altering magics.
Oh.
Special rule number 2, any it touches can be influenced by the bearer. So that's what you get from it. Whoa! You get immediate sense.
Yeah, it'll,
So-
it'll recoil from it.
Yeah, because you'll feel it.
Sorry, Lupold. We've been burned by you a few times now.
Yeah, not by me, and it was a plan.
Well, nobody told us.
that was the plan,
Yeah.
as I explained.
But it didn't work.
No, it did work.
We've lost a Runefang. Because we let the person who we knew wasn't him stay near it.
Well, we
It's
know
not
where-
your
we know-
fault,
we know,
but-
we know where it is.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
It's in Albion.
Oh, that's helpful.
Oh no!
He went up to like a wall. There was like the remains of a doorway, but it was all blocked off.
Yeah.
And he cut it open, and it became like a portal.
Yeah.
So that's where we
He went for
passed
the
through.
treasury.
Because we were in Albion
He's trapped now.
somehow.
Is he? Depends what's in the treasury, though.
Yeah, but
he's
did he get it?
trapped there. He can't get back.
But do you know if he got into the...
He went through the portal. That's the last I know. But I know he's trapped now.
Technically, it
That's exactly.
was protected, but he probably got
He's
it.
got Barracuda. He can cut through the wall.
Yeah.
To answer your first question, it didn't really work because we've been following the prophecy. So he is the one.
Nicely done.
It's a kind of magic.
So I'm glad you're back, my friend. And she'll give him a hug.
Yeah.
Like, I've really
Oh,
missed you so much. I've been a bit on edge, they'll tell you.
So,
A bit.
So
They all go.
who am I to you then?
let's, before we cover the individual questions, let's take a moment to give Andy some breathing space, because there is a lot that Andy knows that poor Lupold doesn't. And there's a lot that he will possibly be passing over as well too, and questions to be asked, like who is to whom and what's what. So let us retire off to one of the wagons at the side of the Knights Panther Middenheim encampment, and with relatively low conversation, spill what's what and exactly what has happened these last few months, since apparently Lupold separated from the party all the way back on the River Reich.
Fuck.
Just after rescuing Margarita, who also happens to be in the camp. She's still here.
Kept one alive! Lupold, we've kept one
she
alive.
is still here. An opportunity to pass over all those parts so that at least Andy can speak with a certain amount of awareness and authority that he already has.
Yes.
And we can then move on to the later in the evening as night has drawn in. And the individual groups that are out there considering what they're going to do are currently scheduled to meet the next day and discuss exactly what they're here to discuss. It gives you the entire evening with wine, lots of wine, to sit down and discuss. In attendance is Lucas. Lucas, who has been along for a good chunk of the journey and definitely gone on some of his own adventures. And he can fill in with some of those excited details also, because
Is Geralt here?
he is absolutely not here. This has nothing to do with him in the slightest.
No, but
So-
is he with us?
Oh, he's here,
Yeah, he's here.
but he's not
Yeah, he's
here.
not here.
Is he doing something a little bit noisy just nearby to discourage
That's a great
eavesdropping?
idea.
It's not
Yes, he is.
actually a
Polishing
bad
his armor.
idea.
I will tell him to.
Yeah,
like,
quite.
undinting some armor.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff like
absolutely.
Yeah.
Tongue,
Yeah.
tongue, tongue,
traveling
tongue.
with us,
Love
the
that.
armor is perfect.
That. Dinting and then undinting the armor.
Before, have we started drinking yet?
Oh, yeah, you can, or
Yes.
it's up to you.
So
I
if,
think
if
so.
we have, just to wind things back, Ulric's going to tell you about Dara.
Yeah.
I mean, Lupold, like, would be like a toast to the fallen that dwarves would do. Yeah, you'll do that.
The hold is reclaimed, but we've lost our friend.
A number of the dwarfs fell as well.
Oh,
The-
yes.
After the spirit went away, there was like a basilisk falling in it. It turned loads of dwarfs to stone, and then it ran off into the portal after it.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Hang on, is that fucking basilisk a bad guy?
I mean,
He
the
saved me.
the Shadow Me had a pet basilisk, and none of you thought that was dodgy.
You rescued him when you
Well, it was
left.
given to us by chat, Lupold. Didn't really have a choice.
Welcome to my world.
I love that basilisk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, he did bite my finger off, but it grew back, so it was okay.
the other
I didn't like it.
self like saved it from like
A life
what's
of
it?
servitude.
Yeah.
and menial
Legal
drudgery.
trade.
I think it's still in servitude.
Hmm.
And it wasn't our Lupold who rescued it.
But I just wanted to make sure
Thank you.
before we got in any way drunk, Dara was respected.
We'll make that our first toast.
To the fallen. She's with her ancestors now.
Beyond that, Lucas has a question. Right. What is going on here? He says, somewhat conspiratorially. What's going on with all those? There's so many of them.
So Volkmar is the High Capitular of the Order of the Throne. He's, or more technically, he leads the Order of the Throne. He's the High Capitular of the Imperial Palace, which is a sacred site. But his order is massive. They're like the political wing of the Grand Theogenist almost. So, although he has his own place that he's responsible for and his own order that he leads, he essentially does what the Grand Theogenist wants him to do. The Emperor has sent him up here with one goal only, and that is to bring Middenheim to the negotiating table.
But they've done that by sending 500 Sigmarites
Sigmarites?
blessed
It's a-
through Middenheim? Are they idiots?
I mean,
Or doubles.
Fewer, they might have been dead though.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have been attacked.
Right.
That would explain.
It was
But-
to get here.
By, they're bodyguards.
Wow.
Attacked
Dark
by who?
times.
Children of Ulric.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, listed in Delbers.
You are significantly south of Delbert at the moment.
Where did we run into them? Where the orc attacked?
And it was Delbert where you
Ah, okay.
encountered them. They are.
But you're all through Middenland.
they
It's
are
just because they had a bit
Middenland
of
and
a,
then
because they
had-
had one of their main leaders.
Yeah, and then they
Fine.
faced off against an orc attack. That
Can I suggest then that you, so we believe that Boris or a replacement of Boris has ordered these Knights Panther to kill every single one of these people. They thought there would be fewer. Can I suggest that we start to mix things up by you taking Gerhardt as a doctor to help tend the wounded in the camp as a show of he's been awarded a claw from the Graf to show the Graf's benevolence towards people who are coming to talk with him?
Sure.
What do you think?
I can do it.
doctor
Yeah.
apparently turned out well with Laster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you see when you see me? Anything different?
I mean, does he look,
I mean,
well, appear as
Gerhardt.
always?
I mean, yeah.
You just look like you to me.
Bit less Shallian.
Right. In comparison to the real.
What?
he was pudgier.
Sorry?
He was a bit pudgier.
Yeah, I mean, you're
He's leaner.
You're
Look at
leaner,
him.
You're tougher.
Right, but
Uh,
internally,
a little
anything
surlier,
different?
but
I'm dealing with a lot of things. Anything different internally?
if any context that weirdly makes you very like him because the other you is not desperately happy either.
No, that's not consolation at all. Thank you. Good to know.
I think you say, does he see anything different internally, which is a very physician way to put it. Do
Spiritually.
you mean spiritually?
Yes.
I mean, you don't seem in any way tainted or.
Right. This is
Surprising.
Perhaps you
not
could be a
useful.
bit more reassuring.
He
Like
has
actually look at him.
No, I don't care about that. I just want to know: is there anything different? I am a clone. I am not a real person in the same way.
You are a real person.
Okay.
You have a soul.
Whatever, doesn't matter. But I am. If we are looking for doubles, which is what we are doing here,
You look the same to me.
That's
Right.
a shame. We were
That's
hoping
annoying.
we'd be able to spot the doubles.
okay,
Spiritually.
fine.
Although, I mean, perhaps there would be something there if it wasn't that his soul had been filled up by something charged with Olgu, right?
Do you see that?
No, but you look
that's
like
what
a
you told
normal
me.
person, is what he's saying,
Yeah.
with a soul. The other ones, you're absolutely right, Gerhardt. You've hit on it. They might, because they don't have a soul in the same way, maybe you would see
They
something
might look
different.
different.
Right. Well, if we're
But
going
we have
into,
nothing to compare that with.
there is one around though. You've told me
Yes.
that this other.
Yeah.
Well,
Is he with? He's not with us.
The
though,
Grand
is he?
No, he
Theogenist
didn't
surely
come.
isn't.
Yeah. Nope. He's
He's
not
with
here.
G-Thorge
If
causing
we encounter
trouble.
another one, no.
Yeah.
I can certainly check.
Well, I want to speak to one.
And the other one, the birdie clone that I knew in Nuln, like she was genuinely blessed by Ulric. Like that is some heretical stuff.
That's by Ulric.
Because
Good for her.
Lucas folds his arms and
she
sits
was
back.
genuinely blessed by Ulric. And here's the thing. So what you said that they could like activate the clones and take them over. Well, that happened to this one when she got rumbled, but she was still blessed by Ulric.
Well, maybe it's just less. No, that's heretical.
It's just
Phrase it
us.
in a different
Whatever way
way.
we cut it, it's heretical.
No. It's just that Birdie comes from a line of a family who believe they're descended from Ulric. Therefore, the Hellsteins are probably more similar in shape, both physically and spiritually, to Ulric. So perhaps in the absence of something being in Birdie, Ulric just, like water, poured into her and filled her up.
But that's what I would have thought if it wasn't for the fact that they then activated her, which means she was still empty and they could still fill her up.
Yeah, I don't mean he filled her up with his soul. I mean he just filled her up with Ulric-y stuff.
But also, did you not say...
There's stories about that.
But it came on her while we were fighting the Purple Hands, while we were taking down the Magistrate. We were cutting off the head, the temple. Oh God, there are hundreds, thousands?
Hundreds.
There are hundreds of them out there. Every single...
But I thought we had the Magistrate. Is there more than one?
No, you had the Magister Impedimente.
No, and
Magis-
then
no,
we met the
you met
Magister Magistrate.
Magister
No, we
Magistrate
met
as
a
well.
Magister Magistrate too.
Interesting. Well, maybe that's the new Magister Magistrate after we killed the last
Or
one.
maybe there's maybe
What
they're
does
a
your-
regional head rather than a global head.
Well,
You're
yes.
not certain it could be either.
It could be.
What
could
did
be.
he look like, or she look like?
Oh, it was him. He was an old guy. He
And
was,
what was his name?
His name was... Because Andy looked it up for me and then
I was
wrote
about
it
to
down.
swear, but that would get us demonetized.
Professor Edgar Frank.
Poppy.
Edgar Frank.
Edgar Frank.
What an unimpressive name.
He was
Just a normal human.
A fellow at the university.
Oh, interesting.
chair
Because
of,
that's where
philosophy.
Huygen.
A chair of
Yeah.
philosophy.
But just
There's
Right.
danger in philosophy.
to go back to the blessed by the gods, did you not say the Elric that you knew down there was blessed as well?
Yeah, but
But it just goes to show
I mean-
that
I
you
mean, but-
can
That
dupe it.
was
Fake it.
Engels.
Yeah.
but
And we know...
no, but she no. There's a difference
Is there?
Are you
because
sure?
one of them's the Lord Magister of the Grey Order.
Yeah, okay, but like, if you didn't know
But
that,
still,
would you have
but
been able
We've
to tell?
seen these... we're
Yeah,
we're
'cause she
our own, yeah.
tried
We've
to
seen these
escape,
Skaven
she
do
reverted to
incredible
time,
magic
she's-
things. They could have the ability as well.
No, but I was there when the blessing came on. You know what I mean? It's not just that she turned
And-
up one day
and
and she
also-
was different. I was there when she was blessed.
And also, you weren't fooled by Engel. He
No.
he knew. I told him
Yeah.
he was pretending.
You were,
Oh, was it?
but
Yeah.
you knew.
yeah,
you knew.
I knew.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's- yeah.
So he
mean,
did
Elric's
have a way to
point-
fake
yeah.
it.
Elric's
It's
point
sound.
isn't wrong,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, but simultaneously, it was always Birdie and it wasn't Engels.
Yeah.
But you know, both points.
So
Yeah.
so the underground have found a way to have their doubles blessed by human gods, is what you're telling me. But that's the worst news we've had for weeks, and we've had some pretty bad news lately.
But it also means this contingent is highly blessed and they may not be as infallible as we think.
You may.
Elric, you're
Your
right.
your knife, sword,
Yeah.
blade thing. It's okay,
Uh-huh.
Ulric. Thank you.
It's so big.
How
Just the
how does it
shoulders.
work? If you touch it to secondaries are not real individual, because the shadow polled, that's what I'm going to call it, did not enjoy.
No, but it is still a sword. Like, it's still.
Yeah, but you can cut someone with a sword and not take off their arm.
Where's the
I'm
fun in
asking
that?
how, because I know it has power. You
Well-
said it has power. Does that power?
You're afraid of the damage that would cause.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think potentially there's some level of what is a soul, what is a spirit, what is a demon
Tell me about
stuff that I'm not sure about, and I wouldn't want to test it unless we really, really had to.
So, but we know, right?
I've not. I don't think I've actually cut a human with it.
No, you haven't. Not even yourself.
No, probably it seems unwise to even try.
No.
And also,
I've touched it
Shadow
to clean
Clone,
it and stuff.
the Lupold was a different kind of double. So just because it was scared of it doesn't mean it would have any effect on
No,
another kind of double.
I was actually just hypothesizing whether we should just cut Lupold here, just to make sure.
I don't think so.
No,
I'd rather not.
Because the Yume's sword is even more terrifying now that Ulric has super senses. It was bad enough before.
Yeah.
Well, look, I
It's
don't know. That's why I
horrific.
asked.
I think we can be pretty sure of Lupold because he answered a question naturally about what happened in the cabin, which was completely sealed to the two of us. Even and the only way that could have been replicated is if the underground had replicated him.
Or if you're fake.
Well, that's always a risk you face.
Reassuring.
I walk the path of shadows. I'm reassured by his responses. They seem genuine.
It's not the copy that we knew. I would think I'd be able to tell based on auras.
And something to be clear as well. The other me that was with you. I don't know, like everything it did and it did and was its very essence is lies, is deception. Like when it was carrying food and was giving you supplies, you weren't eating anything. Like it was all just
No
lies.
wonder you were always hungry.
Like if you were eating the food it gave you and then were a little hungry later, it's because it wasn't real. Like, did you not notice that when it left, all of its belongings that were mine all just weren't there anymore? You maybe didn't notice. They all just melted away to shadow. There's no body left.
So did we manage to save his wolf claw then? Did it just fall off a cloak? No,
Plonk.
damn it.
In there.
What
Oh,
about
no.
his?
He doesn't get a wolf claw. You weren't with us.
Yeah.
The
What
only
about
thing
the
that remained
One
was the
thing.
blessed hammer.
That's the only thing.
Oh, which we no doubt brought with us to give to you.
But we do we know the visions were
you don't know
shared?
he's coming. You had no
Oh,
idea.
yeah, of course
so,
we did. Yeah.
totally.
Do we
Mundane
as our characters know that the visions that we all witnessed were genuine and they were like simultaneous visions?
Well, that's what I was about to tell
Okay,
you.
cool,
yeah.
cool.
So,
Yeah.
so
We were all thinking that, yeah.
So everything it did was lies, and I don't know how it. I don't know if it was actually manifesting blessings like I would, or if that was all deception and lies in a similar way to Engels was able to replicate your bright wizardry as well as also divine things.
Well-
but what I do know is that the visions that it had were real because I had the same visions at the same time, simultaneously.
And if you had a vision that because someone asked you a question, did it also have the vision and tell
Yes.
us it?
Yeah.
But and just to muddy the waters a little, did it tell us the truth? Having the vision and telling us
Yeah.
what
Well,
it saw is
that
different.
I don't know. But, I mean, if you tell me what he said in terms
I mean,
of visions, I can fact check them.
sometimes
Let me just quickly recount from.
So we'll just fact check.
Here's a Wikipedia article.
There was an interesting one, I don't know what he had, but when I was in the temple or the lair of the Purple Hand in Nuln, there's a place where all of them who had entered the Purple Hand sort of left like a palm print. And I had a vision there of like one of the cultists. It was like a woman, but everywhere, like her face kept changing, but her eyes were always the same. And then I saw her having a conversation with like a big bearded guy.
When you cock-blocked me.
Yeah.
She's never forgiven you for
Yeah,
that.
no.
Obviously a very different context. I had that context because I was trying to sense who these cultists were.
That does explain why you had that vision, because we then proceeded to find a stronghold, like a hiding place of a cult. I think it was a Purple Hand. It's been so long.
Was
Of the Purple Hand in Middenheim.
With that woman, that cultist.
Yeah,
and she was the one who was behind it.
yeah,
It was
she
her.
was behind. I don't
Yeah.
think we ever met her,
Yeah.
but yes, behind.
There you go. So that's interesting that the vision was germane to both of us at the same time. It was in a situation that made sense for me and it made sense.
What
Did
ties
I
the two of
know-
you together?
Sorry, can I just ask the GM a question? It's okay. Did I know?
Consulting GM.
Yes.
Who is
No.
this gem? Which
Um,
is the
did I know
Nope.
Edgar Frank when I was
Nope.
at the university? No, he wasn't
Nope.
a friend of Toygan's.
No,
or
he
anything.
wasn't. You didn't know who Toygan's professor was.
Yeah.
But
Well,
Well,
you
it was
know.
Well,
less
we'll say he
professor. It
taught
was more
Toygan.
like friends.
He taught
Oh,
Toygan.
so he was
He
older
taught
than
Toygan.
Toygan.
Oh yeah, he's about 70. He taught Toygan. He taught Atelka Hertzen. He was a mutant. He took some killing, but boy did we kill him.
Did he teach? What was the guy from the coach? Max
Oh, Schreiber?
Schreiber?
Did I just make that up?
I don't
The
know.
student.
I mean,
I'm
I-
quite happy for you to get the name wrong if you get it wrong. But yes, he
Sorry.
was also a scholarly type who was
He's
on the
the
court.
nerd from
Birdie,
the,
you
from
were
the-
about
I mean,
Right,
did,
very
did,
first
did,
episode.
did I encounter any records of him though?
Oh no, mate, that's
In the way that I encountered
that's
records of
possible.
Toygan and
yeah.
It's
Hertzen.
not Max.
Because you would have looked for that because you were aware of him. And the answer is yes.
Yes, yes, he taught
Yes,
me.
he was schooled in Nuln also.
Was his name Schreiber?
Again, memory is open for you.
Let's just go with Max. Probably
I
safest.
don't know if it's Max.
I think that's.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah,
I think I've
that's-
mixed up my real life.
That guy.
Who have you called out?
The snivelly guy on the coach. Got it.
Yeah, you know who I
Yeah.
Who's
mean to
nothing
say.
like any of Dan's friends, just to be clear.
No, it's more sense that I'm reading Trollslayer again, so I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
right.
I'm mixing up.
Schreiber is. Yeah.
Quite different
Yeah.
character,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
was being very amused. But anyway,
And
I'd like
it
to
was
point out-
Ed.
I fucking called that out.
Yeah.
you.
Out of all those things. Yeah, thanks very much.
yeah.
Cloneheart
Wait,
is
I-
the one.
I have a question. Just a side thing that's been bothering me. If wasn't the point that you were trying to make the Gerhardt down south like hide him away, essentially, right? Why did you then put the people he was traveling with him so he was more recognizable?
What?
If we were trying to spirit away
Oh,
the
I
real
getcha.
Gerhardt, why did you put him with the very noticeable, very known group of people?
I didn't. Like, Engels took him away and posed as Elric.
No, I mean, I guess you two question.
Well,
Because you were
but it
there.
was
You
only-
can't
only
trust
two.
anyone else.
By the time I arrived, like I
But
went.
Engels could have been anyone.
Well,
Why did it have to
But
be
by the
Elric?
time he arrived, Elric was
Engels-
already there.
Engels and Birdie was already
Yeah.
there too.
So yeah, it's not really a question for you. It's more a question for you. And then why did you go along
what
with it?
Engel? When
Why did you
Engel
pick
came,
up the birdie?
Because I thought it was Birdie.
Oh,
I thought she'd left the boat and come because then she got
is
blessed.
that what she told you?
Yeah.
So
And-
how did it
and-
have this knowledge to tell you that it had left?
because it would have been beep beeped by the Skaven.
So the
I love
Skaven-
that. Beep beep. Like Roadrunner scheming. Beep beep.
So,
Oh, it's terrifying.
as
By,
Drop
by
ambles
the
on you.
mobile rat.
So as much as we fooled the shadow Lupold and potentially a purple hand, the Skaven were not fooled.
Sorry. The,
Accurate.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
accurate. Now you've got all of the
And-
information
and
here.
why
The
did-
Skaven.
At least
And
one
Engel-
of the Skaven
yeah.
factions
And-
was
Yeah.
rattled.
An Engel was Elric because Engel had Elric to hand to be able to fake. It's not easy to trust me. I know it's not easy to fake being a person. You need a good resource to start with. You need a
Elric was in his
good
tower.
awareness of
Yeah.
their
Spent
physicality.
a long time
Yep,
without.
agreed.
And I do wonder if, like, to a degree, in terms of how Birdie became blessed, like, I think if you walk a path as someone, you are that person to a certain extent. Like, you know, she did she was fighting cultists and heroically and bravely and ferociously, and Ulric recognised that. And she was, up until she was activated, she was Birdie. She was our
Like
Birdie.
attracts like.
But it was all for naught.
Was.
Because our Gerhardt is the prophesied one, as you've said.
Well, it wasn't all for naught.
We didn't know, but ultimately, even if attention was brought to Nuln Gerhardt, it made no difference.
Well, it's made one.
I thought
It's
you
made one.
don't,
It's made one important difference. It's made one important difference. So I had another vision after he left you.
Right.
The Countess needs to side with Middenheim, and so I need to speak to someone in the royal family. Now there was another blessed priestess there, priestess of Mor, who was like the real deal. She's the eyes of Mor. Like Mor watches the world through her.
Right.
She's relatively convinced that Boris is not to be trusted.
But he may be an underground double, under their control entirely.
But potentially
Or
his
sometimes.
daughter might not be.
His daughter might not be, but we can't be sure, and I'd like to be sure before we. I haven't told her that her father might be false.
She might not. Well, look. Beforehand, she had no power because she only recently has been made Baroness.
Baron.
Baron.
Right?
Officially Baron.
But
Officially
why?
Baron, and now there's a reason to copy
Grants
her.
more freedoms if you're
Exactly.
Baron in Middenheim law.
But why, if he is a double, why would he give that power to her? Surely he would just keep things as.
I don't.
Because
I don't-
because remember, they
yeah.
don't know they're doubles. So sometimes they're controlled, and sometimes they just go about their Borisy
Do
business.
what
Right,
they would
they're
do.
free agents. So
But Birdie was Birdie right up until she was arrested and outed, and at that point, the Skaven took over.
Can we stop saying that word, please? The underground.
The underground took over. The underground took over.
So
But
I'm not squeamish.
regardless.
I am cautious.
Yes, no, that's what
I would say the word while I was fucking. I'm not squeamish, but I'm cautious.
what?
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 We're all having a
I was-
vision now.
Sorry, that's
You
maybe
say that word while you're fucking.
no. I said
Yes.
I would.
More.
I would say it.
let's not.
It's all gone wrong!
Let's not kink shame Elemental.
No,
All right.
I am so unsqueamish. I would happily
more
shout it while I was having sex. It's not
I
scream.
don't-
It's cosh.
I don't-
Is that a thing? Do people say words they're not comfortable saying? Having sex?
It was just an example. I thought you would. I thought
Poor
you would
Lucas,
relate
he's
to.
gone bright red.
It's what you would relate to as humans.
Poor Lucas!
Elves are strange.
All over my computer. God damn you, Lindsay. God damn you.
But isn't that the ultimate taboo thing you say while you're having sex?
No.
No.
It's
Well,
mostly just
it
crying. For both people.
Well, that's explicable with you, Elric.
I think it's safe to say we've missed your steadying hand, Lupold, while you've been gone.
Well, it's been here. Just.
Yes, but in a slightly.
Yeah, although I think I don't know, but I think I've got a nosebleed.
He's
Yeah.
lost it for
It's
Randy.
karma, dude. It's karma
Well,
for 1995.
It's revenge. I overly aggressively wiped the coffee off my face.
Deep cut there.
I gave myself a nosebleed.
25. 30 years ago.
This has been a long time coming.
Sage wasn't
I
even
am the Matt
born.
Damon again.
Yeah.
Depending on the month.
Oh.
I have a question, but I don't want to. You're right.
Yeah, I'm alright. It's just
Yeah,
a very
okay.
slight nosebleed. It's not that bad.
You
Yeah.
taught me. Well, Shadowpold taught me a spell. I cast a spell that it taught me. Now, I don't know how that works, but
Me either.
I'm now somewhat worried by that.
Did you have a vision of Sigmar showing you that he used the spell?
Could
or?
you? Would you be able to teach me something now? Any idea? He told me to go through his mind. Once I found the light,
It's
say
probably
some
best
words.
to forget about that.
Never talk about it.
Never do that again.
I would suggest not. Like I have no knowledge of that. The only
It
no.
wasn't
So
a
it's
vision.
interesting. You said Marguerite
I-
did something to the shadow. Well, whatever it was she did, it like severed us. So we were connected, but before when it's like I could perceive what it was doing and it could perceive me, but that stopped. Like right after I left, whatever Marguerite did stopped that.
Yeah, but
So the only things we had in common were the visions.
that's what I was going to say. There's obviously something that connects you two if
Well, yeah,
Sigmar's speaking through both of you.
It was riding in part of my soul.
Does he have a shadow?
Yeah, it came back as soon as it went.
It's you're in candlelight
Yes.
sitting inside your thing, and the shadow as you look over towards it is sitting there, and it moves slightly, and moves slightly again,
I've got like a
and
scar-
not with the flickering of the candle.
I've got like a scar on my shadow.
Yeah, it's not behaving properly.
Stab him!
So,
Well,
So can we go back to the vision you had? Because I'm sure that the Lupold that was with us had a vision about how the Countess had to side with Did we
I
get
possibly
that
got
The
my timings
people
mixed
who
up.
were
I thought
with
it was
me?
after.
It
it's
wasn't,
gonna
but
be
I was
review.
okay for it because they could have just brought it up and said, no,
Yeah.
we know that one too.
Oh right,
Yeah,
I
so
still got
that's
timings
not
somewhere
what it
around,
told
sorry.
us. It didn't say the Countess had to side with Middenheim. It said the Countess should side with whoever I'm with.
Yes.
Not to be all about me, but
Yeah, that was what the reason was.
But that's what the
what you
vision
were with.
which is odd
Fine.
because you shouldn't
Yeah.
really be able to see that. Oh, I don't like that. Oh fuck.
But that's the point. No, he couldn't see you. That was the point. It was that in the same way that you knew, not you, that Rootweaver knew that you had to exist in order for there to be a route out.
Right.
By the same logic, were the Countess to ally with anyone who wasn't hidden by you, the outcome will be bad.
Right.
So therefore, she must have to ally with someone who's hidden by you, right?
Okay. Does that seem
Covered by your
That seems
Aegis,
that seems to
yeah.
fit within.
Yeah, and the way you phrased it on the day did actually
That seemed fair.
it was fine. Right. I get you. So
It has to be someone who's hidden by you.
yes.
In the same way that the only way out is by somebody doing something hidden by you because that was the only way Rootweaver couldn't see it. In the same way, the Countess has to.
Right, I see.
Yeah.
And that came. That was a vision that you had, that said. That was the way through for the Countess, or for the.
Oh God, I can't remember.
Yeah. To be
It was
fair,
for
he
him
gets
weeks ago.
stunned.
It
Like
was-
you might not
Yeah.
remember who asked the question, what the
Yeah,
question
it was a very stressful evening.
No, I understand that. So it's important that you speak to someone in the royal family.
Yeah.
Margarita is working out how to tell whether they are replacements
I
or
mean,
not.
I can.
You know that so far she has made almost no progress
I
at
mean,
all.
I can do an augury, but it won't necessarily. I don't know if it'll work.
And you
If,
think
if
the
they have
Countess
free
is
will,
true?
they could be acting good at
Yeah,
that time.
At that moment.
If
Yeah.
could
Yeah, that's the issue.
no, but if I ask, "Am I a double?" and you get a yes response,
I'm not doing it.
That's his
Withhold!
miracle, not his augury, which is.
I know the
slightly
answer to that
different.
one. Augury's different.
Yeah.
Augury is him sensing
Do
the
you
signs
remember when
and
we
getting a
first met
feeling about
Spengler
something.
Yes.
and we weren't sure whether to trust him?
Yes.
And so I did an augury, and I got a strong sense that we could not only trust him.
but that wasn't you. That was
No, remember when you told me the story?
Yeah.
You
To
told
be
me
fair,
the
we've
story.
told him everything.
Alright, well,
now.
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like,
But again, everything is cast into question in terms of
yeah, but
I love
were
that.
we
So-
told the truth by.
I'm not convinced. I don't know, but I'm not convinced it necessarily knew it wasn't me.
I'll go further. You're absolutely convinced it did everything that you would do.
Yeah,
We've
it-
already,
Right.
yeah, as we
it did.
discussed.
It did what I would do right up until the moment where it knew it could get away with Varicule,
Yeah.
and then at that point it left.
Yeah, it was.
But up until then, it did exactly what I would have done.
It was a perfect.
Right.
Yeah, because it was. As far as you can gather from your perspective, it was you. It had your soul. It
clearly-
had
He
your
promised
everything
me
you
20
needed.
crowns.
But
But clearly, with the fact that it taught a spell,
lying.
but by the fact that it taught a spell to Gerhard that you would have no way of saying, there were ways for it to be. We don't know
yeah.
how, but there were clearly a way
Yeah.
for it to be influenced by something else and to gain knowledge that you don't have.
Do you have any miracles that you perform that allow you to understand others?
No.
Nothing language based. Nothing on that.
No, I mean
It's more
the
Fahrenheit,
strange
isn't
nature of my vision is that sometimes I get a sense of a person's essence or soul rather than their external appearance. But
But you've never been. If somebody speaks to you with a language that you don't understand,
I-
you've never been shown the way.
Are your
through that.
visions translated?
yes,
Yeah, they must
Yeah.
Often.
generally my
Yeah,
visions.
you
are,
in that you understand them.
I exactly I
'Cause-
understand the sense.
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. Sigmar wouldn't have
some-
spoken Reichspiel to start with, right?
Oh, not in the
Yeah.
slightest.
And sometimes
To Toby.
and sometimes I do. Yeah, but
Right.
not always.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can remember it. I can write it down.
No,
No, I don't think that would be a
Classical.
good idea.
no. If
you can't write the
Shadow
language of
Lupold
magic,
was
that's
something
works.
bad,
Right.
and
Like
I've seen bad things recently, Do not
Yeah.
write anything down.
Well, if I
Like,
split it across two pieces of paper.
whatever,
No,
whatever. Like
just forget it.
You do
It
it-
was-
I can do it backwards.
the reason it was me was because it was made out of my shadow, right, out of a part of me. But there was something like riding it, something possessing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
like Double didn't have a hole
Yeah.
himself, and so he got a bit extra. Your shadow didn't have a hole itself, and so it got a bit extra.
Yeah, but
There was space for something else,
and
maybe.
it left my shadow to go through the point, which was the point when the shadow went away and my shadow
I
came back.
see. So you're
Oh.
right
So you've not had a shadow until that
until that time. So he released it.
And you are now
He,
whole.
well, he fled it. He didn't need it anymore.
So I
took-
was just thinking, if the Countess needs to side with whoever I'm with, then I should just defect to Reichland? Just change things up?
Well-
No, but that's a joke, because you also had another vision
Looking
that
directly
it
Take
was
a corruption
really
point.
important for Karak Zonas to be hidden, which meant I had to stay with Middenheim. So by a sort of logical deduction,
unless we
I-
steal it.
And it was,
Yes.
and it was.
people.
I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. I might be overly inferring, but I presumed it was whoever you were with at the time when I had the vision.
But now it's not. Now it's not hidden.
Well, I'm going to go back.
What, and just take it?
No, be with Middenheim.
No, I mean Karakzonas.
Yeah, but
Karakzonas-
if
Her
I'm with
presence
Boris,
is what's hiding
then
it.
as long as I'm close to him, it's hidden.
I don't think that's necessarily hidden. If I can see something, it's not hidden.
No, that wasn't
Yes,
the
you're there.
intention of the vision. The vision wasn't to make it invisible. It was to hide the consequences of Karak Zonas' actions from Sears.
Right.
I thought the point of the vision was that we didn't. There was something about not letting it leave Brass Keep.
No,
Like,
it
not
no. When
visibly-
it didn't, when it left Brass Keep, if it left with me, it wouldn't have been visible to Sears.
Okay.
And that's what was seen in the past. It went into Brass Keep, and nobody saw it leave.
Oh, okay.
Now, there's two options for that. You're absolutely right. You could keep it in Brass Keep for eternity. But the other vision was
Because
it would
no,
be.
there's a reason it wasn't seen.
But
There's a reason it wasn't seen.
why?
Because it didn't go out of Brass Keep.
Where did
went
it go?
to you.
Oh, in the past.
He says, I think so. Or it was a dream.
What?
Yeah.
Because he told me us about my sister, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So my sister took it.
Yeah.
But then, how did it end up on the ground?
Well, I have a theory about that. I think Rootweaver stole it from her sister and gave it to the underground
Because it
Why?
needed to be there.
because it
So that
needed
we
to
could
be there
recover
in
it?
You
case
could recover
future her was there to
But then
recover
she
it.
wouldn't have seen you recover it.
No, but exactly. So
But-
if
but-
she didn't see me recover it, then
And
she
no one
knew
sees
I
it
would
being
probably
recovered, so
recover
it
it.
matches the
It matches
vision
the vision.
when no one sees it.
Headache.
She
I think.
Rootweaver Rootweaver did a lot of things to prepare for a lot of eventualities. Some of those eventualities will never come to pass, so her preparations will go, they'll be like smoke in the
So
wind.
that's
Some
why
of them,
she made a deal with the mountain dwarfs. On the
one
off,
assumed
on the
off
off
chance.
chance. That
And
you happened to
that's
be there.
why she said all humans had to leave, because all she knew, she had a vision of one human's face. She didn't know his name. So if she wanted all of them to leave, if she wanted one specific one to leave,
All of
she
them
had
had
to
to,
apply
yes.
all of them. Same with the artifacts. She knew one artifact might need to leave, so she said to the gnomes, you have to give up all the artifacts.
The way your people view souls, it's different, isn't it?
What do you mean?
They're damned, I think.
Well, you have your own, and this might be getting mixed up with 40k. I might have done this in the past. Sorry. You have your own ways of looking after them to
Yes.
stop them from going to.
Sure.
My way shot.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, no, that is this place. Good.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
She's even discussed it before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah,
He's
it's
an
a
absent-minded
yeah.
genius.
She
so
has
I
the
do.
strangers
Just
ones as
clarify.
well.
Yeah, I do.
Did you get those back?
Yeah.
Good.
When they are like that, do you still class them as people?
I don't think so. But yes. But no.
How can I? The answer is it's complicated.
Yeah, it's very
Do
complicated.
elves really have like ancestor worship?
No.
Yeah, it's
No,
not
no,
like
no, no, no.
yeah.
Do you? If that is the case, do you?
Like souls of dead people is the vibe I got.
Sure.
Can you place? Can you do it to humans?
I feel like that might be an offensive question.
Not that you're aware of.
Not
But
that
that
I'm,
doesn't mean no.
Not that I'm aware of, but that doesn't mean no.
You don't know how to sing. You don't know how to deal with
It's
it.
not your shtick.
It's
It's
your
not
shtick.
my.
Right, I'm like asking. I'm asking a chef to do it. Tell me what.
You're
That's
asking
exactly
a chef to make a dwarf rune blade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Yeah.
I can make you a cake of one.
Yeah.
Which we can
So
plug
is
onto
it
the
cake?
phone.
Who knows?
But maybe we can find someone to answer you that
Yeah,
question because I think
absolutely.
it might be interesting.
I need to find
Do
one
you-
because I've
Do
got
you not
all of
want
these.
your soul?
No, I'm just interested in how on what it is.
Right. Engels would know.
Yes. Yeah. I
And where
suppose
did
you would.
Engels get the soul from?
It was in
Magical.
It
the
artifact.
book.
Yeah, it's in the book. Where did he get it from to begin with?
Question for
I
you.
think it,
Yes.
What was the author's name on that book?
Do you remember it?
Yeah. Bear in mind, I can't just go back and watch the episode, so I'm going to say yes.
You're just going to have to do so then.
Fuck, come on, Andy.
So-
Maybe the chat
so
will tell us in the
this-
break.
Purposely hiding that one.
Engel told me that the book was a familiar. So it had probably been, the history of the book probably was this. It had been the familiar of a wizard, possibly a grey wizard, possibly not.
And had gained
And
sentience.
sadly, it had lost its wizard partner, which is a terrible experience for a familiar. Often they don't survive, nor the wizards if it's the other way round. And this familiar book was in need of a. I mean, that would never usually happen, I don't think. If you bond a familiar, you don't usually
merge with it.
merge with it.
Maybe if the wizard knew they were dying, maybe. But
Well,
that's
It was killing me
No.
for a while.
good magic.
No, that wouldn't be good magic, but perhaps Engel found a way to
But if,
do something with it that was.
if it was as you theorised that the shadow place where I lost my shadow was somehow tied to Ulgu,
Like the Aincon.
it could be something similar, right?
What do you mean?
It could be the wizard's shadow.
I don't think it's anything to do with the wizard. I think the wizard just died. Forget the wizard. But the wizard had a familiar. Familiars are just spirits. Familiars are spirits.
I thought you were suggesting that some of the wizard's soul
No, no.
joined with the
No,
familiar.
no. Just that
No.
it was a poor lost familiar. And familiars are just spirits, and spirits are just soul stuff. She said with her lore magic 5. An
Putting it off there.
expert in all of this. I
Right.
think familiars are just
So
soul
you,
stuff.
you literally have the soul of a book, which seems very fitting.
Yeah. From the fun stuff, has she heard of spirits taking over
Mm.
others?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How drunk is everyone?
Fairly.
Quite.
I mean, listen to them.
Well, I heard once.
I need to share something. I don't know if vision is the right word, but back in that cavern when the cannon or whatever went off, I was blasted from this plane. It's not the first time. In Middenheim, when it exploded, I seemed to get sucked up into Actuate and be protected. But this time it was different. This time I saw the breadth of what we have to fight. I witnessed fields of blood and pustulant gardens. I know I'm sometimes guilty of not taking things seriously, but what we face is immeasurable. 6 of us are trying to stop.
Chris
7.
goes, it's 7.
7.
It's probably best to stay at
No.
home.
I agree. He says, no. Point well
All
made.
this is good to catch up, but I'm seeing what I saw all the time. This might be what it was like for you, Father. It's terrifying. We are going to die doing what we're trying to do. I don't mind if we're fighting the right fight, but Yeah, we.
I think we are fighting the right fight. I think we're fighting the only fight. The only fight this world has ever known. And the only reason this world still survives is because people choose to fight that fight. And death comes to us all. Death is inevitable. What we can choose is the manner of our dying.
And we're not fighting all of that stuff that you saw. We're fighting to stop that getting here, right? We're fighting to keep that there and us here.
We're keeping what's there, but what's already here is also a big fight.
Well, yeah, but
isn't
I'm
that-
just saying, let's not add to our burden.
Isn't that why we're here, though, so that we can stop them fighting, so that they can
This is the
ideally
next.
fight that instead?
This is the next skirmish in our war against the ruinous powers. Is to stop this powder cake from going up.
As I say, Volkmar wants to bring Middenheim to the table. Like, that's what he wants. He wants them to negotiate.
We're worried that Middenheim has other plans.
No, we know Middenheim are not wanting to go to the table.
Well.
Boris is already calling himself the Wolf Emperor behind closed doors.
That's not ideal.
Lucas sits back.
The
Oh,
Temple of
dear.
Sigmar is besieged. They'd burn it down if they could. I mean, he has gone mad with war.
But we've also heard down south they're
What?
killing wolves as well. It's
Yeah.
both sides.
It's absolutely both sides, but this man wants to come to the table, but the
And-
people Boris have sent don't.
Yeah, and Volkmar doesn't approve of any of that. Like he's not a bad man.
Good. Well, at least they've sent someone hopefully decent.
Yeah.
Well, the,
And
go for it.
well, except if he's a double or influenced by one, and he says he wants to come to the table, and in the moment, in that room, in that rock, he does something very different.
Because that
Maybe.
place.
Do we have to go back in there again?
We
Yes.
had an
We need to
awful
be
time
there.
last
Horrible.
time.
I've never been.
Oh,
No, but
If they're talking inside, we have to be there.
And I think
They will not kill people if we're there.
if they're talking inside, you have to be there, because we have seen, I know it wasn't always you, but we have seen time and time again, the visions you get from Sigmar change the mood in the room. They change nations. And if anyone can stop what those two men might be going to do to each other tomorrow, it will be you.
And let's see if that's what happens.
My birthday, and everyone's teasing me. So please, if you do one thing today, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Join us on Discord. Give us money on the Patreon. Just do anything to save me from this hell.
Crawling into the place of the shining rock. This isn't one of these places that you can, with dignity, make your way in. Indeed, if you are wearing anything other than relatively loose-fitting clothing, birdie, it's exceedingly hard. Because your armor is already a bit of a pain. It's a relatively close tunnel that moves its way into the main chamber on the inside. But we're past that. We've already gone through the groveling stage as we passed through to the main chamber on the inside, which is almost like a grotto with a large singular shaft of crystal embedded in the opposite side. Candles are ensconced all down the sides, and large crystals appear to grow out and up and down from all the different sides. On the inside, it's actually quite large. Not that you could tell from the outside with the snow, but the chamber that is held inside the mound is not just big enough to stand up in, and space above that. And almost 3 Lupold height at one part of it.
Wow.
The
I thought we were
main,
things by birdies.
Good point.
the
No, Lupold's back with the party.
it's in Lupold.
Outrageous.
Sexism.
The main
Oh, I missed that.
blade, the main crystal, the main shining rock itself shines and glitters in the light, but it has different effects on different people. This is a holy place to Ulric and to Sigmar. According to the different legends, Sigmar fought here and Ulric fought here. According to Shadowpold, an entirely trustworthy source, the different legends don't contradict each other, they're just at different times. In the past, Ulric apparently used this great shaft of crystal as a weapon. In the past, Sigmar, as a child, maybe not more than 17 years old, pulled this shaft of crystal free and fought off against an incoming horde. Different legends claim different things. But here, you all see something different as you come in. We'll start off with Ulric, who's still dealing with the word shaft.
Dan is.
Can you dig it?
Yeah.
Things have changed since you were last here. When you were last here, you were younger, footloose, fancy free.
Just loving life.
Yeah, just loving life. But now, as you enter this place, the torrent of magic that's coming from it can be seen, and it has a beauty you didn't expect. Because here, it's in equilibrium. Out there, it's spiraling, and you're seeing the outside. Here, it channels down into the center of this crystal. And it's almost like it's got a bubble of nothing, air all around it. And the magic spirals into the center and around it. And it swirls in so many different colors. And sometimes seems to almost thin out. A big sheet of pink, a sheet of a deep azure shifting into blue and then running through with colour again. But again, get the shape. It's almost like a big donut with it at the very centre. And the donut itself is clear and the magic is on the outside of the donut itself, sitting around it. And it's perfect. At no point is it ever not this perfect donut of magical energy around it that then shears off at the side and spirals outwards, giving you the far messier view you had on the outside. Here, it's almost breathtakingly beautiful. It is almost impossible to do anything but gape in awe at the chamber, which it fits in almost perfectly. You couldn't see this when you were last here. It just looked like a big open space with these crystals and the bits growing. But the magic shape is in the gap.
And
This
you say
place,
in the center, there's one particular.
yeah, the one central shaft, the one that was apparently used as a weapon previously. That one central crystal. And it reverberates to your senses. It's thrumming. This is something special.
Now, in the past, before we recorded, Ulric had a bad experience with channeling a sacred flame. So he's probably not going to do that. But I don't know. I'm curious if he were to put anything in it, would it balance itself or would it slightly askew? Interesting.
It's definitely interesting to consider.
Well, like he potentially watch what happens to say all the heish that's pouring out the birdie, and see if that.
Well, let's watch.
Because I assume like the gyrin that's naturally within people is flowing.
Yeah.
As you turn round, you didn't realise your hearing was impacted. It is. As you turn round and you cross through the threshold of magic, it doesn't feel almost anything. But as she clanks herself up and moves into a position of standing, it echoes wrong. And she looks at you as if to say, what are you looking at? Classic birdie, indeed. And you're not entirely sure you'd even hear her if she spoke. There's just a part of you that's unsure as you step back, and your footstep as you step back echoes in this odd torus circular space.
But only when he's within it.
As she then stands up and the heish that is about her gets sucked into it, and it causes all of it to reverberate as patterns dovetail and fish off in different directions, reverberating with her, causing the central part to thrum again. That's proper rubbernecking time as you watch it all big and around you thrumming. You get something completely different. There's a crystal over there.
Sense of dread.
Yep. There's a crystal over there.
Yeah.
Yep. Holy crap, you've been here before. It looks just as sharp as it did last time. There's a part of you that wondered how sharp it would be, and you realised that if you kept on pushing, you'd removed your hand.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's still just as sharp on the edge, and you can't help but look at that and think about what might happen if you trip, and you don't know why. You're quite some distance away from it. There's candles on the other side. Ulric's looking at you like he's turned into an idiot, and all you can think of is, what if I happen to trip in that direction? I'd be dead. I mean, it's miles away. You're not going to do that, are you?
Is it not like
Are
standing
you?
on a high place?
Are you as you step forward?
Yeah.
Willpower test, please.
Oh, God.
It's the shiny
Can
thing.
Elric try willpower to not be so distracted by it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's cool.
Is it straight willpower?
Number of successes, please.
Or just a success.
Just a success.
dear.
So yeah, you're distracted.
Either way.
I mean, you're it's not going to stop you
I
from doing
have
anything you want to
14
do,
now.
but it's
But
very much
still.
you're
I'm gonna
seeing
use it.
things around you. You have a constant light display all around you. How did we do?
5 successes.
Nice one.
I used
well
my
done.
only fortune points.
So you only take one step forward
Yeah, go
and
on.
stop.
And 2 steps
Okay, this is a little bit like when you're sitting on the edge of a cliff and you wonder, what happened if I jumped?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened if I just pushed my hand in it? I mean, what would happen? And you can feel your mind
Been here before.
moving round, the
Yeah.
teasing over the potential sensations that could be. Control yourself, Birdie. There's something important about to happen here.
I back up against the opposite wall. Breathe.
Hey, Gerhardt.
Oh, no. Hello.
You've never been here.
Oh.
This is apparently one of the more holy sites that the Empire has to offer. Apparently. Holy to both Sigmar and Ulric. A rare site, which is holy to more than one deity. And you don't know much about it. You're aware it exists. And that's what a pass in your test provides you with. It's a place that exists that's holy. Many people have taken pilgrimages here to see it, because apparently Sigmar's own hand touched this, as did Ulric's divine hand, this very point. Which makes it, if anything, a point of interest for those who have an intellectual go. It's pretty. Your first thought was you didn't expect it to be actually a site. You expected it to be a bit of rock,
Pomp and circumstance.
not an actual shining rock. It has its own light, like it glitters slightly from within. The candlelight all around, of which there are multiple, many of them, several of them really big, presumably looked after by the local priests who work from here. It glitters through, not just that crystal, but all the crystals that are around the cavern as well. It's a really impressive space. And apparently, if all stories are to be believed, this is where the most important deals between the north and the south, or at least Reichland and Middenland, have been struck. Because it is a place where they are not supposed to draw blood. No one is supposed to draw blood in here.
Is it specific on that, as in draw blood?
It's meant to be a place of peace. You are meant to negotiate and organise.
But is it
I don't
draw
think
blood?
I don't think there is anything even close to the clarity that would provide.
Okay, fine.
It's
just
myth and legend.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
don't go.
Plus, you know that we've definitely spilled blood in this place last time.
Yeah,
And
sure.
bad things happened.
I'm not entirely sure he
Coincidence?
does know that, unless you chatted about it with him.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sure.
I
I'm sure
assumed
Birdie would have
yesterday.
complained about it.
I mean, she complained. That doesn't mean you.
I'm assuming it would have come up when the info dumped it because I also had missed that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So when they were telling me
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it,
yeah,
maybe
good
they were
point.
And
yeah.
I literally said about like, oh, the time that you
Yeah.
cut yourself.
Yeah.
So
Can I do a law warfare check to see if somebody was going to do an assassination type thing,
Uh-huh.
where they would potentially put?
Not warfare. Warfare is about strategy in battle.
Then some. This is like a. It's like a.
I mean,
mini
that's just
battle.
going to be stabbing someone.
Oh well, it's more politics based then.
That's a nice try. It's weak ass. What are you looking for? Where you would attack from? Because that's melee.
No, it's. Well,
What would
I'm
be the
trying
most
to.
opportune
Yeah,
moment?
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, where if I wanted to get someone and then get out.
I'd say it'd be when they're coming in via climbing.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
they
they've
start
got to
crawling.
crawl to get through the passage
Oh right, it's that
into this place.
tight. Okay.
It's that tight. You've got to crawl. There is no easy way to get into the place in the Shining Rock.
And are we in first or second, or people in front of us? Like,
Pardon?
Has
No,
anyone
you're in
arrived?
first.
we're in first.
Yeah.
Good. So we can guard the
we just hear them push a boulder over the edge. It's like, oh.
Where's
Can I do-
Barracool
is there
when
a
you need
history
it?
checks to do potentially about anything going south here?
I mean,
101.
other than
You've got
you
him.
are in an enclosed space
Yeah.
with people who might want to kill each other,
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's much more you're going to
No,
learn.
he's
Like,
asking
in the
history
past,
if anyone
has there
has
been-
been bad here.
No, never.
There's no.
Yeah, you
like,
don't even need to
it's
make a
not
test. It's
categorical.
known for it.
Okay.
Well,
Um,
it's been said that it's known for it.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean that they can't cover up anything.
No, of course.
Yeah.
but his
100%.
history
Yeah.
tells him that
Oh,
no
yeah,
one's
yeah,
ever.
nobody
Yeah.
knows what happened to us.
It's
in
why
here.
this place is so important because no Ulric or Sigmarite
Yeah.
would normally ever choose to do that.
It's that sort of victory written by the. Sorry, history written by the victors type
Yeah,
thing.
although it's also worth noting that they sent panthers, not Ulricans.
And,
Yeah.
and I'll have told the group before, and they said none of the panthers were would take my overtures. Usually, at least 1, 2, maybe 10 would, but this time none. Like they had closed ranks, like they had orders not to.
Your
I
what?
w- my overtures, for money.
Oh. Right.
Think-
Yes,
Yep.
because what I was going to do
With
was
you.
get in with them, find out who their families were, find out who was on the other side, start spreading, your cousin's here, to make it less likely that they would actually have the balls to be able to kill someone.
Mm.
But they wouldn't let me anywhere near any of them.
So it's a vista.
It was nice.
Which is certainly something a duplicate of Boris would say.
Mhm.
Because they know. how
You
to
can do
get
it.
to the back.
Cool test to enter the place.
I rolled 2d10 because I'm an idiot. uh,
Can I pick which one is the
no,
10?
you can't pick which one is the 10. I usually go left to right.
Oh, that's convenient.
It is, isn't it? What is my goal? Yeah, that's fine. It's 5 success.
Success, good, yeah, convenient. You steal yourself. And you crawl through. Unlike, say, for example, Birdie, this space is very easy for you to make your way through. You can feel the cold earth packed hard by the passage of 1,000 crawling people. It's still just as oddly cold as it was the last time you were here, and you feel an intuition test.
Done one of those in a while.
Oh, you got a dice stuck up it.
Yeah. You can't just roll one dice.
Cheat.
One.
Left to right.
No, this one I rolled a percentile dice. This
Oh,
time.
because left to right would be much worse.
I changed them so they would be percentile. One success.
It's a bad cheat if it's going to be a cheat.
Pretty weak one. As you pull yourself in and a brief snapshot of a vision. A little bit like you're in the darkness and someone suddenly flashes a strobe light and you can see the room. And it's like reality is darkness. And for a brief moment, you see the room. And the room is different. Very different. In the center of the room, there is a tall obelisk. And the obelisk emits light. And all around it, things scurry. Roots rise up on all sides. And they shift backwards and forwards. And you hear a voice in Nipponese saying, "A reading's gone wrong! Something's gone wrong!" And that happens in a snapshot. You're aware of the voice. You're aware of what was said. You're aware of that. And now you're in a candlelit space. And in front of you, there is a shard of crystal. Sharp. Crystals that grow up and around it. Shelves of mineral something. Candles everywhere. Yeah, that's what you see.
Just to clarify, the obelisk, was it,
Exactly in the place where that shard is.
and did it have any writing on it, or was it
Nope,
smooth?
just light.
Did she recognize the voice?
Nope. Okay. I'm in a way.
I don't want to go in. I'm Albrecht, the normal human.
Okay, I'm in a way. As you pull yourself in, and you can feel it before you even have passed through the passageway that goes in. It's the peace. Nothing here will be heard or will be seen. The peace of Ladriel. You can sense it. It settles in over you. It's something that all those who walk in Ladriel's shadow will one day not just feel, but manifest themselves. And it's here. You can feel it very clearly. Anything said in here will be not heard, not seen, not known. It is quiet. You know these humans have a reason to choose this place. They don't understand the reason. They don't know how quiet this place is, how important this place is for having private meetings. This is a place where people will gather their private thoughts frequently. It's nice, sort of. It's good, sort of.
So we know about the Magnus Chamber, right?
Yes,
That's like a place of Ladriel.
that would not be unfair.
A
So-
private place where things can't be seen or heard.
Is
That
that a place of
would
Ladriel because Ladriel made it there, or is it a place of Ladriel because it's a private place?
There was a human.
Yeah.
Chicken egg.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah.
You get elf bullshit.
You've got it.
Yeah.
Done. Hey, Lupold.
Profound.
Here we go. It's going to be fine.
It's going to be exciting.
This is the
No.
best. No matter what they said, they've got it all wrong. This place rocks,
Literally.
at least according to everything you've read. It should be very interesting to actually see what's on the other side. What has caused everyone else?
Have they, I'm assuming they told me what Shadow Lupold said he got from this when he came in.
There was a.
As I said, everything,
announcement.
Yeah.
everything that you
Well-
caught, yes.
Not so much that, but more that he got that it was sacred to Ladriel.
I'm
As
assuming you saw that.
That was a vision.
No, because
The vision, but the sacred to Ladriel was holy visions, which is different.
yeah, completely different one.
Okay.
This corpus has not
We
set
never
foot in
know
this
what
one.
the difference is. We're just like
As
all
you
Leopold's visions.
Step in. Oh, and even before you've bent over, you can feel it.
God's sakes.
Shaft. Even before you have got down on your knees. It's not helping.
Lie on the floor. No.
To crawl into this holy location, even before you've got into the solid ground, the snow all about.
So before I've
You
entered
can,
the hole.
yeah, before you've entered
The
the
holy
hole,
hole.
you can feel it. Feel it quite intensely. This is holy to Alamenowith. To Ladriel.
That's an important
This is-
clarification.
This is
Potato.
You get it.
Nobody says potato.
and as you sit there,
Irish do.
potato. No, they don't. And as you stand there and you're about to bend over, you realise that perhaps some of your eagerness was misplaced. But at the same point, it absolutely isn't.
Is it at all like the Temple of Ulric, where there was like the outer bit and then the inner bit, and they were like different?
No.
Interesting. So there's not like an outer bit that's sacred to Sigmar. And
No.
Then, no.
No.
Idiot.
It's sacred to Ladriel. And that's it.
Interesting.
The rest is a lie. A complete lie.
Interesting.
A secret and a shadow that has been spun to keep secrets and shadows.
But the G-Thog visited here, didn't he, by himself? So
Grand
you know
Theophilist.
that?
As
We bumped
you
into
pass
him.
through and you feel it. The stories are almost thrumming through your mind. Sigmar was here. Ulric was here. But is it because of the place? It's not because it's sacred to them per se. It's not sacred to them, because it is.
They've been here. They
But
feet
it's-
have walked this
But they
way.
came here because it was.
But they came here because it was sacred.
Did
And it
these
has been
feet
given
strange?
additional depth of meaning over time, because Ulric, you can almost feel the story. You can almost see it. Ulric fought here. But apparently, or so they told you, Ulric defended this place. That's what Shadowpold was told. Against thronging demons. Defended it. Ulric defended. And apparently the local Ulricans tell that tale, while the Ulricans up north tell a very different tale. A slightly more aggressive one, slightly more pushing forward. But as you move in, you get a very strong sense as to why. It's holy ground. It's actual holy ground, not, and this is the important difference, consecrated. It's not consecrated. This is not the act of mortal men. At all.
Actually divine.
This is a point of divinity in the world, arguably like the Great Flame in the north. This is not what you expected. While simultaneously, you could have almost put the thoughts as you stand up before it and see it. You can see it with your dead eyes. The single shard of light sitting before you in your otherwise dead vision. Oh yeah, it's there. Oh yeah, it's there. Yeah. Wow. And it's almost like you can focus on it with your eyes. It's just this crack of something. Whew. That was a sight. Whew.
Got the vapors.
Oh my.
Mercy.
Father, can I ask a favour of you?
Yeah.
Since you're the only one probably big enough to stop me, if you see me going to try and touch that, will you stop me?
Sure.
I nearly lost my hand last time.
Sort of edge half in front of her.
Thank you, appreciate it. She continues to give it side eye.
Very easy to walk up to it, walk around it if you desperately wish to do so. It's just this single long crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it sparkles. It's got its own light. It's something. Suddenly a flash. You see Elric's hand upon it, a great pair of horns out of his head, and it disappears. For a moment, that's what you see. That's something you've never seen before. An actual vision. You don't get visions. You don't normally get big, goddammit visions. That was a vision. You saw something. Is this how Lupold lives his life? Yes, it is!
We literally had that vision twice. 3 times.
So I think I've heard this is deja vu.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, quite right too.
Umi's gonna get close to it, almost as if she could she wants to see if she could hear the stuff on the other side, the tree roots moving, the things.
She moves around it, and it is cold stone and crystal. The only obvious sounds are the top, 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 top of their footsteps echoing slightly in this grotto. Again, to your hearing, Ulric, everything sounds muted. Like you're not quite hearing it correctly. Like someone's put a pair of muffs over your ears, and everything's got a bit of an extra echoey, hollow reverberation, as if you're hearing parts of your own body more than you're necessarily hearing what's going on out there quite as clearly.
Is it like if you've ever popped your ears and you can just hear your breathing over
Yeah.
everything?
And it's almost waxing and waning with the rhythms of the patterns that move around this great circular donut magical form. And sometimes as a spiraling mixture of colour spreads across it, voices heighten to your senses to around you.
Can you try to meditate to try and
Sure.
be okay with it? Because you'll
Yeah.
need to pay attention to what's happening here.
Yeah, I agree. Do yourself a cool test.
Before
Three
this is
successes.
before people are coming in, right? Like there's a bit of time.
You're here a good half hour early. Nothing like being early
Next.
to make sure that no one assassinates someone else as they try to come in.
Yeah.
Technically, if they do it outside the Shining Rock, it's
Well,
not our problem.
I feel like sometimes things here have a duplicate on the other side. Our family tree, I've heard, has a duplicate on the other side. I've been through gates. We've been through gates. We've seen, well, things. This has something on the other side.
Could you define other side?
Yes, the aether, the spirit world.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But it's circular. How can you have another side of a circle?
A sphere?
Inside and outside?
It's
I think it's more so in another place,
more like
not the other
almost
side of this.
overlapping places at the
Yeah.
same time.
Right. No. Understand.
Kind of. Like if you put a filter. Oh, do we have filters? I don't know.
not really.
No.
That's it.
Gauze.
He's put it
Like
different coloured scarves
Make
over a
buttons.
It's
lap.
like,
Yeah.
you know when you're using TikTok, right?
and then you like open your mouth.
They
and the
got
tongue comes
TikTok,
out.
right?
Sure, we've got that.
Yeah.
TikTok.
It's tick for this game.
Either it's. I had a sense that it's connected to Nippon, but either it is literally connected, there were like tree roots, or for whatever reason, someone in Nippon tried to scry this place, potentially, and they failed.
They would fail. It is hidden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would fail,
yeah.
but why are they looking, you know?
Oh, of course. Good
And
question.
if it is connected,
Maybe they're looking for you.
How
And
do
they
we
can't
avoid
see you
it?
here.
But also, if you're scrying and you see something that can't be scryed, is that not, by its very nature, suspicious and something that you'd want to see if there's a gap, let's
Yeah.
say?
Can be. Yeah. Whole existential
they-
crisis is based upon this.
it was more not a I can't scry this. Well, I can't scry this. Something has gone wrong. Kind of feeling though, like there was more. Or
Maybe it didn't like being scryed. So it's not just a question that they couldn't, but it perhaps fought back against them.
Well,
doing
that
it.
has happened when you have tried to look into my future before. When I was particularly, I can't remember where it was, but it was really bad for him.
And
I
from
thought,
what
and
you
then I just
told,
punched him.
from what you told me when the other me did an augury on your father.
Oh
Something
yeah, that
terrible
was
happened
bad
as well.
too.
yeah, so maybe.
But whatever happens here won't be seen from the outside. It is private. It is meant to be private. We might be able to use that fact. If anyone is embarrassed in here, if they promise not to speak of it, no one else will know of it.
Do you think that's happened just now? What you've just mentioned?
Oh no! I mean, we know that on the other side there's no time, right? So like it could have been floating there from.
Oh.
I was in the aether for years. I thought
Same
when
here.
I got back,
That sounds
years had passed.
horrifying.
Yeah.
But you haven't aged or anything.
Physically, no.
Right.
But you experience it.
Mm.
Okay. Needs to do some of that head doctor stuff, I think. Have you ever you know you had a prophecy, which I know you don't necessarily go in for or anything these days. Anything to do with just gentlemen with big horns?
And as he says big horns, you hear, oh, do I have to bloody kneel? How do I get in here?
Oh, great.
We'll catch up on it later.
To the best of my knowledge,
How
no.
are we going
Lots
to
of horns and
handle
tiny
this?
Fucking hell.
But
He
different
doesn't
time.
like us.
That's how I've seen it multiple times in missions.
Right.
And you hear, this is the place of the shining rock. Nobody can enter without first prostrating themselves. What fucking idea was that then? You could have just opened a fucking hole. You hear. Something you can bloody walk in with.
Is this
Let's
our
stay.
guy?
Yeah, let's stay near the entrance.
Your guy.
Let's stay near the entrance bit, so when they come in, they can't take that spot and
Yes. And we can help them
sort
through.
of like an honor guard for people
Yes.
coming through.
Yes, we can help them.
And you hear,
You stand on one side, I stand on the other.
it's not too long. It won't take you more than maybe about 8, 9 crawling steps forward. 8 or bloody 9! Bloody hell. I'm a baron, he says. No fucking groveler. He says, he better fucking be in here. He says, apparently he was, fucking hell, it's cold.
Is he expecting Sigmar himself?
As in he comes. He goes, where the fuck is he? Fucking hell. Fucking hell. As he looks over at the... and you hear from behind, and the voice saying, before you is the shining rock. Oh, I can fucking see it. Shining. They say he walks forward.
Hunksa is the dad of one of Katrina's valets, isn't it?
That is correct.
Just right. He seems like a dick. That explains a lot about that.
How'd you get that sense?
As he comes forward, looks at it, folds his arms. Hey, you're a father. What's this all about then? You presume.
Are you talking to me? Sorry.
Ah! What the fuck is this?
It's the Shining Rock.
Ah, but what the fuck is it?
Well, there are a number of stories. Can I launch into Entertain Storyteller?
Yeah, cool.
Emphasise how bad it is to shed blood here.
Yeah, or do we prefer
Ulric-
Entertain Rhetoric, so
Yeah.
that I'm persuading him how bad it is to shed blood? I mean, I've got a skill the same. for
Yes.
both.
Ulric.
Different outcomes. One is entertaining. The other one is potentially persuasive.
Persuasive.
Let's go with persuasive.
7 successes.
Oh, sweet. All right. You are right.
Doomed forever.
Ulric himself, you say. Oh, right.
He fondled the shaft.
Yeah, I know it's a meeting place. As at the very far end comes Baltimore. Big moustache, head mostly bald, hair down. As he comes up and he goes, oh, we're here in Storybat Place. He says, it's quite good. As Voltmar comes in, sees the gathered group. You have attendance? He says, I don't have any fucking choice. Bloody Electrocount demanded it. He says, and he looks and says, including yourself? In your direction.
I'm
What
part
are you
of the
doing
party.
here, Lupold?
I'm with them. With old friends.
Of course. He says, of course. He comes over. Right, Hunkster, we have a lot to discuss. Oh, I'm listening to a bloody story. He says, you're interrupting.
Oh, wow, pressure to perform.
She says,
The end.
And they all lived happily ever after.
perish the thought. He says, as he looks over it, blinks a couple of times. It's some 15 minutes of storytelling, rhetoric, persuasive, coercive at points talk, making it quite clear that this is
Entertain.
a holy place A place marked as holy by Sigmar and by Ulric. By their deed, by their action, and in turn, by the deed and action of those who came after. Nobody breaks this particular covenant. To do so would be to invite the ire of two deities. Walmar listens to the whole thing. And at about the last 5 minutes of where you are, he gets down on his knees and gives a prayer.
On his knees.
Yep, on his knees.
What a polite man.
That's not how Sigmar's pray.
How's it when it's been?
Standing up.
Generally standing.
Oh.
He's an old man,
Seats
though,
or anything.
right?
He's
How-
oldish. I
how
mean,
did-
he's not that old.
How do
worse,
Ulricans
though.
pray?
Oh, as much as I don't want to say this, he's my age.
God, he's ancient.
God damn it!
Is it all that?
Have less.
I am the Matt Damon gif.
Oh no!
How do Ulricans pray?
I don't know how to
Throwing beer.
They kind of don't give a fuck.
Right.
Yeah,
Just wonder-
yeah, exactly.
Chuck-
Like
like
chucking
Is he
beer.
It's not an
paying
immediate red
homage
flag.
to-
Throwing beer,
It's an interesting
singing.
choice.
Have you?
Lore
Ulric,
theology did
watch me this day.
I guess super
Oh yeah,
quiet.
lore theology to see whether maybe his order prays slightly
Go.
differently.
because they
Good
need
shout.
to be lower than the throne, right?
But also
Oh, it's a crit.
Ah, interesting.
For a total of 11 successes.
Oh, we're gonna stab
Well
him.
timed crit. Okay,
Yes.
the Order of the Throne.
This shit now.
What you know of it has no special method of praying, has no special note for how one should commit rite or one how should commit miracle. It's a matter of reading the text. It's a matter of speaking and intoning words with the correct Sigmar in one's heart. However, it's not that kicks you off. It's something that he said around about 2 weeks ago when you were in Altdorf. Indeed, when you were in the Imperial Palace. And you were under the Imperial Palace in the center of his order, where the original throne of Sigmar supposedly sits. It's just a bit of misshapen stone. It's what his order protects. Officially the Imperial Palace, but the Order of the Throne protects this. This is why he's a High Capitular. An important site, supposedly where Sigmar himself once sat a lot. His bum on that. Not entirely sure how that would work because it's kind of misshapen, but sure, time has clearly done something to it. And it's something that he said when he was giving you the not so grand tour. Because for all his order is actually enormous. One of the largest, in fact, the largest of all the orders in terms of the High Capitulars and the Capitulars. Not the greatest order, it's the Order of the Torch by an immeasurable amount. But definitely the largest of these holy site orders. And he mentioned, just one little aside, that Sigmar once prayed here.
Place the shout.
Yeah. No, not please say no.
No.
Here,
Where you were.
where you were, by the throne. And it kicks your mind off because what he's doing is an almost classic version of praying. And Sigmarites do not. They absolutely do not. So he appears to be making some sort of reference to, or perhaps copy of, Sigmar. Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Isn't there like thrones in temples of Ulric sometimes?
Often, yes.
So does the Order of the Throne protect Sigmar's throne, or the throne that was in the original Temple of Ulric that was Sigmar's home temple?
Well, he said it was the throne of Sigmar. That could be interpreted in more ways if you wish to do so.
Mothering Sunday? Mother's Day?
Also, I imagine the groove was made because somebody went na 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 na.
Trying to get comfy.
2 halflings.
As that all runs at the back of your mind as you finish off your rhetoric. When you finish, Hindestern stands and says, "We should get to this." Right, so fuck you. He says, "That's what. Before you start off with your pre-prepared diatribe,"
It's not really
says
diatribe.
Volkmar. It says,
2 words.
"I have a few things to say. I presume you are authorized to speak on behalf of the elect Count of Middenheim," he says, "or we wouldn't be here." "Oh, aye." "Good. So you can speak on his behalf." "Aye. Fuck you." He says, "Good. That's what I wanted to clarify." I mean, you're getting a... Do you want me to read it? No. I have my place first.
What's nose for trouble like right now?
Very good one. Who's got nose for trouble?
Nose for trouble, 6th sense, and combat aware. So just for the record.
Yeah, nose for trouble is the
Unaware
one.
people, yay!
Shiny.
So yes, you can roll for nose for trouble, and that's intuition.
Is was his
And we can roll our own dice because we've got empathic.
Oh, I
I
can't.
can't.
Yeah.
was his praying
Yeah,
similar
you'll-
to that of
you'll have to-
when we've seen certain
Success.
rat individuals throw themselves upon the floor in front of other rat
6.
individuals?
Six.
not the slightest.
Nice.
My score is 65 for
7 success.
Yeah, and mine.
So far,
14 successes and a crit.
fuck me.
Nice.
You gotta go. You've always got to go one better, haven't you? You always.
Sage, that's how you cheat.
One success!
She didn't even roll a dice.
Just read the ones that sit there on 66.
I will go slightly further and say, don't think either of them are a threat in the slightest.
Good.
They are unlikely to be the threats.
If only I had battle tongue.
There's no but, that's it.
Yeah.
They're unlikely to be the threats. It's as simple as that. Zemi says, good. Then I am authorized to speak on behalf of the Emperor and the Prince of Reichland. He says, just to make sure that we are clear. Are you clear with that? Oh, I'm bloody clear. Can you get to the point? He says as he folds his hands. I mean, I've made my point. He says, good. Right. Now that we've established that I speak with the authority of the Emperor. Right. He says, as the moment
Gulp.
as the moment carries a bit more weight than he thought it would when it was said, and Hunkster goes, right, he said, good. Then let it be known that I am here to offer Reichland. What? I thought that might interest you. He says, I am here to offer Reichland. Do you think that you, the Elector Count of Middenheim, would say no to that? As he goes, I don't understand. What do you mean? I don't understand. He says, our lands are plagued with civil issues. That is unacceptable for myself as a devout follower of Sigma. He says, I follow in his footsteps. I consider us all Sigma's heirs. I consider us all responsible for keeping the Empire together. That includes you, as a representative of Middenheim and as a Baron of Middenheim. Just as a citizen of the Empire, it is absolutely integral that you keep the Empire together. Magnus worked hard for what we have. Exceedingly hard. And he could have failed. He did not. And there have been repeated attempts to tear apart what Magnus built. He says, we do not want that to happen. We, as the imperial seat, he says, wish peace to prevail. Now, obviously, there are civil issues within Reichland, but I am not speaking on behalf of Reichland alone. I am speaking on behalf of the Empire. And the Empire must see this problem come to an end. Do you understand what I'm saying, Hoser? Well, I understand, but I already told you what he said. He says, yes, but you speak with his authority, which means that you can decide. So I want you to listen. He says, because you have the authority. You have been empowered. He chose you. which means that he trusts you to make the right choice. Well, oh yeah.
We're all not here. Oh yeah.
He says, yeah, right.
I think we need an adult.
He says, we have too much at stake if you go to war with Middenheim, because you have to do that first to get to us. It's going to have to happen. And the Emperor recognise the issues that the Biltoffens present. Well, you know, down in bloody Karabog, isn't they? He says, well, exactly. Middenheim should probably be the ruling capital of Middenheim. Don't you agree? He says, that's what it was historically. That is what Sigma put in place. Well, not all of it, like. He says, in south, that was Drakwold, wasn't it? Well, yes, that is a fair point. Perhaps the Drakwold should be separated. He says, but that's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss the practicalities of exactly what's before us, and that is Reichland. Well, are you offering Reichland then? Well, you are, I do believe, Middenheim, which means that you represent Boris of House Torbringer. He nods. Your heir. He says, it has recently become known in Altdorf that your heir, Katerina of House Torbringer, says, of marriageable age, we propose that Reichland formally draws together Middenland, Reichland, and Middenheim under one crown. Or we could just bloody take that. I mean, you could try. He says, and you know you'll fail. Well, he says, well, as I said, fuck off. You know you'll fail. I trust you've visited Altdorf. I trust you have visited Altdorf. You understand exactly what it involves. The marshes alone will bog down an army for decades. And we have the colleges of magic. And to use your parlance, that will leave you very much in a fuck you situation. Well, Sigma, he says, well, we've accepted the colleges of magic. He says, that is why I've been sent. I recognize the realities of the situation that we have. Well, it would still be 2 bloody crowns. He says, 3, actually, Bildoffen's down south. Yes. There are different ways to organise that, but it involves parley. We must talk. That is the only way to organise it. We unite the crowns. We don't do what Magnus said. Magnus set up an entire policy of each one of the grand provinces working within themselves. Intermarriages were not suggested. He didn't like them because of the potential of the breakdown of Sigmarite authority over the grand provinces and the merging of grand provinces. The Emperor believes that we should have an empire. He does not think he should lead it. He's Emperor at the moment. He thinks that Reichland, Middenland, and Middenheim should be led by your family and your children. He says, I have already chosen an heir who does not bear my name nor my blood. That is not what interests me. So you can keep your family name. She is, after all, a baron. Wait, now tell me that he wouldn't be interested to hear that. Well, no. He says, well, no, tell me who wouldn't be interested. That's all I'm asking. Would he be interested? Now, this doesn't mean that we have a conclusion. This might not work. This might work. But what is important is, do we have the potential that he would be interested in that? Because the answer is yes, then I have to go to Middenheim. I have to. I have to speak to him directly so that he can make a decision that you do not feel you are qualified to make. And he... Can you fuck off? I need to think about this. He says, I'd be most... It would be my pleasure, he says, to let you think over this for a while. But do be aware that the Emperor has already accepted that the Empire needs to change. You may have already noticed this. This is merely another step in that. Look who is chosen as his heir, and look who you have as your heir. It would be Todbringers as the next emperors. Consider it. And he gets down on his hands and knees, bum wiggling, crawling out. Fucking hell! Fucking hell! He says, fucking hell! And he punches.
No.
Don't do that.
Now, there is a possibility he'll punch the angle wrong. But he does indeed punch
A crystal.
the crystal. No,
The
the
crystal.
crystal.
The one that can take
No.
your hand off.
What a fucking idiot.
I had you looking after him instead of me.
He's wearing armour though, right?
Yeah,
It's not going to help.
Well,
here we go.
get ready, Doctor.
Yeah.
Oh! Somewhat surprisingly, he crits it. As he punches it
Shatters.
punches it flat on, and then pulls off, and it causes to your senses reverberation
Don't do that.
that goes, and you feel deeply uncomfortable. It's trying to smell. It wants to know. You haven't felt that feeling since you were last here with the same strength.
Yeah. No.
Mhm.
No.
But other, like, he seems okay.
Yeah, but he just punched it and he's walking off. Fuck! What? Fuck! I meant to say fuck off!
Every the way that the Reichland party said everything,
Mm-hmm.
as if he was the emperor talking
Yes.
and all that sort of stuff. Was that all legit? There wasn't any syntax in there that could be misconstrued or anything like that?
There's nothing that's obvious.
Law
Because he
politics?
said he
Yeah, I can do the little.
But
represents the Empire Council, I think is what he said.
22, that's crit.
Well, you
So-
were
Nice.
speaking on behalf.
Oh, fuck.
It's still like a 4.
Yeah.
So what?
5.
What surprised you most about it is the fact he's a Sigmarite.
Yeah.
Because what he is proposing there is contrary to not Sigmarite law per se, but they split up the Empire according to how Sigmar split it. And they want to keep it that way. It's why Westerland leaving and becoming the Wasteland was so bad. It's why some of them still want to get into Kislev, because as far as they're concerned, that's still Sigmar's land over there. Silly Gospodars invading like 1,000 years or so ago, totally unacceptable. Some of them are still hankering after that. It's why invasion outwards almost always gets pulled back, because all the Sigmarites go, we don't want that land in Bretonnia. We don't want that land in the Border Princes. It is not our proper land. And of course there will be an emperor or there will be a duke or there'll be someone who will be for that. But as time goes on and we're dealing with the macro rather than the micro, the bigger picture, the Sigmarites are always pushing back to tradition. And their tradition is Sigmar's way. And they have reinterpreted that over time. You know they have. You know that Sigmar's initial tribes were not split the way they are today. It's almost certainly different. The Jungfreuds, which were one of the Umberrigan tribes, the Ulfreuden tribes that used to be down in the south, they were a very small, tight group. All the rest of the land around it, nothing to do with them, or indeed anyone else. There was tiny little islands. It's not an empire that Sigmar once did. And after Sigmar, there was lots of conquest to claim what Sigmar claimed. So it's nonsense. But Sigmarites nevertheless stick to that nonsense. It's the way they do it. It's what you were brought up with. The empire is the empire. The Grand Provinces are the Grand Provinces. And whilst there's lots of twisting and twiddling here or there, the Sigmarites are always trying to push it back. This is the opposite. We have a Sigmarite who is saying, change.
Yeah. And is Lucas with us as well? That's the other thing.
No.
Oh, shit.
No.
Did this is still an out of character question. He said he had picked an heir, but did he say who?
It's well known who the heir is.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Wolfgang Holzwig Abenauer.
His
Um,
nephew, is it?
It's his nephew.
Yeah.
Abenauer.
His
Yeah.
sister's son.
Yeah, his sister's son.
So, where's Sigfried
No.
sitting there?
No, not for
Sigfeder is related in the Holzwig Abenauer line. Okay, but distant. It's
Okay.
like a completely different. Up a bunch of tree, down a bunch of tree.
Right.
To get to the Abenauer line, it goes back about 4 generations. But the Abenauers are, they're a line. But Nordlander originally.
Hmm.
That's because the emperor doesn't have a kid.
No, he does.
He
He's
disinherited him.
But he's been.
He's got more than one child, and you know it. Lupold is, as in his son, is currently the heir to Reichland, not the heir to the Empire. And that's an interesting setup.
Yeah, it sounded like he was proposing that they would make Wolfgang the heir to the
He was-
Reichland
He
there.
yes, he was.
Yeah,
Things may have shifted.
yeah. Well, no, because he didn't name him, so maybe
didn't?
Leopold's back in the picture. We don't know.
No,
Actually.
he said it's not his blood.
His heir. Yes.
Yes.
Well, it is his blood. It's his sister's.
Nah, it's not his blood.
Yeah, but it's not his direct
Yeah,
descendant.
in that-
Not
Exactly.
of his loins.
Not of his loins. Yeah.
As our chap goes, fuck, I need a walk. I need a piss. He says he gets down and bum shuggles his way
Follow.
onto the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we all going with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we
I
don't
think
want
we
a
have to
panther
protect
taking-
everyone.
Yeah.
Stark morning sunlight on the other side. In that dark, candlelit grotto, it's easy to forget what the time is. But out here, it's dark. The light is crisp, autumn, fresh, and a slight snow is drifting down. The Sigmarite camp is largely ensconced with a whole host of the knights watching from afar. Hindenstern has already crunched his way over there, and he's having a discussion with a couple of the Sigmarite fathers over there. The other side, your man, is just wandering around in circles, and now wandering off in that direction as he moves over towards the tree line on that side. Looks out towards the frozen lake that's on the other side, shakes his head, looks over to the trees, looks over to the camp, puts his hands on his hips, throws his arms up in the air. He's clearly
Why?
thinking.
Perhaps we should go over to him and tell him that we advised the Graf, so if he stands in the Graf's stead, he can take our advice if he wishes it.
Sure.
I mean, it's true.
No harm in
Yes,
offering.
that's
Do you
true.
have any advice to give?
Well,
Yes.
we might do once someone asks Lupold the question.
I'm just trying to decide.
What was
which
Sigmarding?
question-
Like, is it a trick? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
would,
What,
will
why
it
at
stop
this
a war?
point,
Like,
if I'm understanding correctly, would Karl Franz cede his line, basically? His legacy?
Is this a legitimate order of the Emperor, or is it?
Well, we don't even know if the emperor is still ordering,
Exactly.
because we know there is a clone of him.
Yes.
That does mean asking that question might get a very murky answer.
I was thinking more asking the question of,
Yeah.
would this help? Like, would this stop a
But
war?
also, if, like,
Would it just incite war of a different kind?
the
the
Bildhofens have given away their runefang.
Well, no, we don't know that because
No, I know.
you
that.
know that. Okay,
Yes.
great.
I'm telling you in
The-
character.
right.
Okay.
To whom?
To just to
The
clarify.
rebel Reichlanders, so the young Freuds.
So the young Freuds.
Yes!
So that could be seen
They're
as
not young
either they nicked it or they're taking their side. So then it's like Reichland is saying,
Right.
"Come help us fight them."
Reichland's trying to get reinforcements to fight Ubersreich
Yeah,
Ubersreich
and
is-
And potentially all of Middenland.
and all
and
of
all of
Middenland,
Middenland.
because otherwise they'd be hit by
Right.
both sides.
So there's still going to be a war, just a different war,
Yeah.
with different
Ubersreich
people on
is-
different sides.
It is part of the Reichland.
Reichland.
Yeah.
So it's
What
just
is?
It's on the edge,
Ubersreich
though,
is part
right?
of the Reichland.
yeah, but you're doing
but-
a coup. Like that's the whole point.
No, we are not doing a coup. And technically, I'm not a young Freud. Thank
mean-
you, Ulric, for the reminder there.
Young for blood.
What, what did you say about the south and Nuln?
The, vision I had was that the Empress, that was a Freudian slip.
J'accuse!
The Countess, who is very clever, but that she should ally with whoever was under the aegis of our Menwife, which I took to be the Todbringers.
Well, maybe we should go tell him what we know and how it will lead to another war, because he might not know that.
I mean, the Todbringers have alliances with the Trots, I believe. So they'd have to break existing alliances,
Now, those
which
of you
he might not know.
those of you who are more politically minded, I have more political news from the south. I'm not entirely sure the significance of this.
Can we pursue this bloke before he does something
Yeah,
stupid?
yeah, yeah.
Let's corral him a little bit.
Is Lucas out here as well?
No. Lucas is back in the camp.
That's what I really want to
Shall we just do the thing you do where you keep a perimeter around the guy?
We're going to kettle him.
And there is no kettling. He's over there, and you're on this side.
Just all
If you're all
standing around
talking, you're not around him.
Yeah.
Well, how far
You're
is
talking.
he?
Yeah.
How
Pardon?
far is he? Like,
Oh, he's not very far. He's like about 20, 30
He
paces
seems
away.
fine.
He's just
Yeah,
stomping
he's
about,
Just stomping about.
having a good thing.
tell us the
Basically,
news and then we'll go.
there's an obvious issue he is presented with here, which is he's been given a very clear
Tell
directive,
them to fuck
but
off.
he thinks that what he's being offered might actually entice the person that he's representing, and he doesn't know what to do. And he has yet to make a decision, as you can quite clearly tell by the multiple invectives he's muttering underneath.
And also,
His
whilst
voice.
you consult your memories, if we don't know who is controlling the Emperor and whether he's in his right mind, the fact that he has an
I
heir,
trust you now.
Yes,
Keeping it nice and
no,
quiet. Good. Just making
the
sure.
fact that he's picked out an heir, why? Who wins from having this person in power?
If they're already a doppelganger, very
When
handy.
did this get announced? By the way, do we?
When did what get announced?
That the Wolfgang Ulric Abenauer would be the heir.
Oh, that's been going.
Ages ago.
That's like since the beginning of the year. Yeah.
But like the beginning of the year.
Yes, the beginning
So-
of the year. In fact, the year before.
Yeah,
I mean, you
because-
know what caused
because
that.
no, we know
You
because
would've known
we
no.
I read the paper.
No, you know what caused it. You know exactly what
Was
caused
there
the
someone in the
split.
league?
Because Lupold was his mate.
Yeah.
Lupold, the Emperor's son.
Lupold,
yes.
the Emperor's
Yes,
son,
I
and
was-
he
murdered
got
I was
disinherited. You were.
But also, we know that when Wolfgang Ulric Abenauer
wasn't
was
me.
made heir, he was in Dunkelberg, and we were passing through, and we considered whether we could sneak in and
No,
kill
he
him.
was already here at that
No,
point.
but
Yeah.
he was heir, and
Yes,
we knew he was in Dunkelberg.
And he was in Dunkelberg. Yeah, absolutely.
So we've known it for a
Dunkelberg, which
while.
has apparently
Yeah, no,
been
yeah.
taken by the Countess, according to what you know.
But if the goal is to ferment a war within the Empire to distract from other forces or other things, this offer seems to almost prevent that. But we believe that the Emperor is not the Emperor, right?
Potentially. We don't know.
Well, it
So how has this order come to pass? Surely he would invite this chaos, for lack of a better term.
What about?
But maybe he just makes the promise and then doesn't follow the promise through.
or
Yes.
maybe he just uses the Middenheim forces to go to war with Middenland.
What
It's still a
about-
war. It's just a
Yeah.
different war.
Like Volkmar believes the offer's in earnest, but it might not be in earnest, right? It might be he's told Volkmar to offer that, and then later on he'll go
It's
back on that.
a cap for Katerina, you know.
Oh,
Like,
Katerina will never agree to this. I mean, never.
Well, and it might not actually. This might not come from the Emperor. This might not be the Emperor's. But it might be that fella over there, Volkmar.
No,
What's his-
Volkmar's
Volkmar.
Volkmar. It might be his
no,
Volk. Right. Thank you. No.
no. He's a decent guy. I don't think he's lying.
No, but
when
he might not be. Well, okay.
This
You-
might be why he's delivering the message if he is the trustworthy one. It doesn't mean the message is trustworthy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think he would be lied to. I don't think he would.
You
be
don't
the
think
liar.
he would be the liar?
when the the Emperor's son Lupold did the murder, were you there?
Yes.
So you've seen him do it?
Conspiratorially, yes.
When you-
I have no. That's not me then.
Yeah, technically.
He doesn't give a
His-
shit
I don't
anymore.
care.
He
His
doesn't care
memory
anymore
was
because he
there,
wasn't.
yeah.
You know
Yeah.
that Gerhardt saw it,
Yes.
but is there a chance that like that was also a setup? Like, because we know this has been going on longer than.
Well, you're right about it being a setup in the sense that if the Nordlanders found out who was killed that day and who they were killed by, then the Nordlands would probably go up in arms against the
They will go
Reichland.
to war. Yes.
They would go to war, and they don't know. Boris, Katerina knows.
I can tell you who does know. Trot.
Oh,
There.
of course he
Yes.
does, because his son was also
Absalom
there.
Trot
I
was
also
there when
told him as well.
Leopold pushed
What?
the dwarf
boy-
off the edge.
no.
No.
the
The
dwarf only got
Nordlander.
framed.
The dwarf
The
got framed.
Nordlander
I mean,
prince.
the Nordlander prince
Oh,
off the
yes.
edge.
The Nixa.
Let's get the
right?
correct one. The Nixa
Yeah.
off the edge.
Why?
Why what?
Why did he push him?
Can't quite remember. I think we were all just a bit drunk. Sort of a question of honour. Everything also sort of kicked off.
Do you want to provide?
It's because they think Nordlanders are animals and the League of Calfrans are monsters.
Like I said.
the actual reason?
Like I said, drunk rowdiness, general
Yeah.
sort of thing.
The trot boy
Absalom
stirred
was
the
pushing
pot.
them.
Probably because his father got him to so they could hold something over the Emperor. That's probably the real reason.
There were trots fighting for the Countess as well.
Well, they're
I-
mercenaries.
Yeah, from your wife's regiment, I think.
Is that what you were trying to
Well,
tell?
that's part of it. Yeah. So the Countess the Countess is essentially annexed Sudenland. There was a massive invasion, like
It's
barbarians
heading to annex.
heading to annex. Yeah.
You're not quite sure if it's succeeded or
Yeah.
not, but yes.
There was a huge invasion down there of like hordes, barbarian hordes from the north that somehow got lost and came up from the south. I can't really explain it, but Fyldorf fell. Huge devastation.
That's the old capital of Sudenland. I say old because flattened.
And there are calls for Solent to be reformed down there.
What's that?
Solent, I'll explain, is one of the original electoral provinces. It fell 700 years ago to an orc invasion and hasn't been a province for that long. Sudenland is kind of its replacement in a slightly different territory down there and is run by the Toppenheimer family. It's worth noting that Solent would not be run by the Toppenheimers. If Solent were to be real, a place, the only surviving member of their royal family is Johann von Mecklenburg, who was in a stream once.
That definitely wasn't a vision.
Yeah.
Was not a vision. I don't know why, but was not.
So, then, like the only we could get Katerina
I haven't
to.
finished
Sorry,
with the southern news yet.
go for it.
And apparently she's kept actually most of her armies in Null. It's mercenaries that she's sending
And
south.
how long ago did Sudenland fall?
I mean,
It's not full.
earlier this no,
Yeah.
was it earlier this year?
No, 2 years back.
2 years back.
And it's been patchy ever
Yeah.
since. She's been sending
A
troops
greenskin.
down, round
No.
and round.
No,
Barbarians.
barbarian hordes. There were
Barbarian
rumours that it
hordes.
was greenskins.
Barbarian
It wasn't all
hordes,
very clear, but that's what it was. And the rumour is that the large mercenary force she's just sent south to supposedly annex Sudenland is going for one reason only, and that is to get the Runefang. She also has 2 delegations from Avaland in Nuln right now. Nobles representing the north who are trying to petition her, and Marius Leitdorf representing the Horse Lords is in Nuln as well and courting public opinion to try and get her to intervene there as well. So there's the potential of all manner of changing of electoral votes.
The real question is, all of this is, there's so much politics. Ostland is maybe at war with the Reichland. If Middenheim do this, then it will continue a war and potentially start one with Middenheim. The
And
Countess
she
is-
says that your man starts stomping back towards his camp.
Oh,
He flings his hands up in the air,
The-
starts stomping
yeah, as-
further
as
towards
well.
over
The-
towards the rest of the panthers.
The question is, what course can we chart through this that reduces the chance of Altdorf falling?
Yeah.
What she said.
Doesn't work like that.
What is the easiest course through all of this to minimise the damage?
I'm not going to trigger on that because that question's not quite right.
Easiest course is do nothing.
Easiest is not what we're after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy is
I
not
don't
necessarily
know.
the best.
I don't know what is
What course should we take to maximise our
XP.
to maximise the Empire being ready for chaos?
For all
That's
the,
massive.
we're joking about slightly meta, but actually, he's an oracle. We can actually slightly meta this. Can't we?
You can to a degree. Yeah.
Yeah, like people can say, well, maybe we should, you know, when.
What did the bones say, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's
Lupold can
what
sit
it
down.
is.
It's like, what can that man do today to stop Altdor falling? Or to stop the white walls falling? Like,
Yeah.
Sure.
Somebody has to say.
But-
What can?
Can Alma ask the question?
no.
Oh,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I've got so many
that's why
questions.
One of us has to say.
Go on.
Although I have a really bad history with it as well. Some you guys say it.
Because
What did we
can't
say?
remember.
Yeah, no, like, totally.
What's your
Write it
favourite
down.
stew
Write
type?
it down. Write it down and pass it over
That's
to
the
him.
right question.
Whilst we're writing down, like there is one way, which is we suggest that they agree to it, and then by Katerina going down south to get married, we go and find out what the hell is going on with the Emperor.
Oh, and we go along as guests.
I mean, I'm reasonably confident the Purple Hand is in control of Mordor.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
know,
but
but at least
should
we're
it-
in there then.
Should
And what's better than
that
being...
become clear?
But
Do they have
Go-
control of Wolfgang?
But going there now,
Don't
if we know or if we believe they're in charge, doesn't change anything. As has been said, if this agreement is agreed upon,
Can we have this
There is a-
conversation whilst following
Yeah.
come up?
there's a
As you all start going.
there's still a
Maybe that
war.
explains it. Maybe that explains it. Maybe there's two different forces competing to influence the Emperor, right? There's the painters and the underground.
Yeah.
And they're pulling in different
And
directions.
potentially-
And all the legitimate people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
multiple forces pulling in.
And that's just exactly what the ruinous powers want.
It's like, what should Hunksa do today to stop the white walls falling? What decision should Hunksa make today to stop the white walls falling?
What
Or,
decision?
or the other thing is, what should Middenheim? Because right now he's Middenheim.
Okay.
Yeah.
What should Middenheim
Do-
do
do
today?
today
To stop,
To
the,
stop
white
the white walls
falling.
Falling.
Dancing, falling.
I said falling first.
Yeah, I would like to trigger it on the falling question, not the dancing question.
It could be dance.
It could be
It
dance.
could
It's
be
like
dance.
the really bad ending of Guardians of the Galaxy. They're gonna have a dance off.
You can have a dance off. I'm down for that.
Carl Franz and Boris popping and locking.
It's a pass.
It's nothing. It's inevitable.
No.
There's a certain inevitability about it. Indeed, the white walls fall. The white walls fall, and you can feel the prophecy reverberating within your mind, cycling round and round and round. It is as inevitable as the sunrise until eventually they win and there's no more sunrise.
So what should I do today? Because he can't see me. That's what I'm getting from that.
Yeah, but he can't scry you.
But you
so-
can't scry that either.
No, but that's not a
Yeah.
question for him.
Have you got one more?
That's a question for me.
I mean, maybe.
I thought you
No.
got possession, no?
No, he gets 2 bits of information from the one thing.
No, because
Yeah, I
it's
can
the
only do it once. I thought I misread the time. I
Yeah.
thought it was like my other talents where I could do it the amount of
Per
times I take
time's
it.
taken.
Otherwise, I probably
Okay.
wouldn't have taken it a second time. But
No.
I
So-
did. So
What would Hunksa have done if we weren't here?
If they got married, because we want Katerina to realistically have the decisions, right? Because she's the one, and from your vision, who leads to good things, right?
Good things with
whatever.
the South.
I know it's
no, it was who's under Alamenoid's Aegis. That's what the vision says.
okay, sure. Okay, but we're assuming that's Katerina at the moment, for now. If she
I don't
marries,
see Katerina.
No, it's
What?
us.
It's us.
Yeah.
what?
It's us.
That-
At the
Katrina's
time,
not here.
Lupold understood it as she's with.
But I wasn't with Katrina when he had the vision. I was
Yeah.
with you guys in Brass Keep and or
Bird
Carol
got married.
It's complicated, doesn't it?
yeah.
Well,
There's no easy answers.
we
As he stomps into his tent up
Okay.
ahead.
Let's just follow
Let's
him,
just
see what
go.
he's going to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
what we do know is
You might not be able to come in.
It's this Gerhardt.
Just
I
listen
mean,
So-
from the outside.
legitimately, he's a hero of Middenheim in the
Yep.
north.
Yeah.
Lupold is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't
We're
know
not
that.
telling them anything about the fact
Yeah.
that there's a different Lupold.
Apparently, I'm a priest captain.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
priest captain of
It's all
everything.
good. It was really sad how you lost your wolf claw in your heroic recovery of Peak Leveler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
That
Wait.
we're also not talking about because it was never officially
Exactly,
lost.
exactly. So like, it's all good.
We're all collectively agreed, though, that the offer is a trap.
No,
No.
No?
Unsure.
we don't have enough information to say that.
Anything like that.
That
Too
almost
good-
might have been a better question.
Is the offer a trap? Yeah, it would have been a much better
Trap
question.
set.
It's obviously a trap. It's way too good.
Yeah.
It is
Like,
out
if you-
of left field.
It's
Yeah,
not
why would you offer
necessarily
this?
a trap, but it's definitely
Like,
to get to work together to fight.
It feels
But
too
it's also
trot.
it's also the offer of someone who potentially knows they would lose a war. So
Nobody-
can they avoid it
No.
by?
Yeah.
You know what you do? You drive a wedge between two potential allies. If Middenheim is allied with the Trots, they are allied with the Jungfreuds, and Altdorf cannot fight a war on those two fronts, right, from the north and the south. So what you do is you offer a secondary piece together with one of those allies, which takes out the need to fight on the north, creates another ally for yourself, so you're strengthening your own position to the south.
But
Yeah.
why
That
do
is
you
what
think
they're
it's
doing.
a trap? That's not a trap.
That's
No.
not a
You've
trap.
just described good sense.
I know I have,
Politics,
but
yeah.
but it doesn't make sense from the moves that the Emperor has been making. There is no reason for him to do this based upon those.
No, there is. He
doesn't
thinks
wanna-
he took out Ubersreich because Ubersreich was related to a prophecy that would cause the Empire to fall. Everything the Emperor has done has made sense.
Fine, I still think it's a trap, but it's a good idea. Which once again proves that traps are good ideas.
Let's
Yeah.
go talk
As
to these guys.
you
We're going- yeah.
step into the tent, traps are good ideas. And ahead, he's sitting at his table with his hands on his eyes, rubbing them as he looks up, sees you. Oh, fuck off!
Unexpected, right?
Fucking hell! What a fucking mess!
Can we be of assistance?
Well, what the fuck can you do? Are you Boris? No, fuck off.
No, but we can help you talk it through.
There ain't nothing to talk about.
We also advise Boris, hence our wolf claws.
Fuck! Fuck! I think you might want to hear this.
Yes.
Yes.
But that's not what's doing my head in. It's the fucking Sigmarites. There's 500 of them. That'll be an invasion force. That'll be... If they come, that's it. We're done.
Well, perhaps they don't all come. They brought that many as a bodyguard because they were worried about being attacked.
And they have been.
and we
Fucking
weren't.
rightly so. Oh, I've heard one of the knights saying they're going to slit his fucking throat.
They were attacked by children of Ulric all the way through Middenland.
Which means that he needs them. There ain't no way he's getting up there.
Well, we could take them.
No.
Maybe
You'll need 100 of you. Maybe more.
Well,
could Boris come here? Could they not have the negotiation here? This is the right place for it. It's peaceful, sacred, protected.
You could wait.
They wait here. Boris comes to them.
How long is that journey? Out of curiosity.
No,
Well,
it's
we've
going
just done
to
it. So
a couple of weeks.
Oh, a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
yeah.
Fuck!
Unless the ships are available.
Spirit Grimney.
I mean, we could take word back.
Fuck!
Yeah, we could take the word back.
No. He won't be able to come down. This is Middenland.
Of course.
Okay, yes.
Could 100 of them not just come? Then it's equal numbers.
Oh, no. He'll need to... Fuck! I don't know.
We didn't
Right.
have him to protect.
Oh, I've got
Wait,
an
can
idea.
I do
I've
a
got an
Lord
idea.
theology?
Yes?
Is there a theological exemption that could get the Elector Count of Middenheim to pass through Middenland on a pilgrimage to come here?
Oh.
I mean, there's all manner, but that's not the issue. The issue is they'll just be attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not... I mean, any attack is illegal. They'll just be attacked. Even if they have Sons of Ulric who don't want to see it happen by Sigmarites. Because they're up in arms also. The idea of North and South marrying won't happen.
I mean, they might not necessarily know why.
But if
he's
they're coming
south.
down, kill them. There'll
It's
be
all right.
He'll be,
He's
he'll be
invading.
marching down with his armed forces. Maybe he's coming to kick the.
exactly. Now he's coming down with armed forces into Middenland. Middenland
invading
attacks.
So we need
The whole thing is a mess.
You need a third party. Somebody who doesn't have a political leaning associated with this as an agreement, who can then also provide a bodyguard or a position.
No, he needs a fucking army.
Yeah,
It's the only
I-
thing that'll last.
I don't mean-
Anyway, it's got to be a fucking army.
I mean a full collective bodyguard. When I say bodyguard, I don't mean one person. I mean a
Fuck.
collection.
There ain't no way this works.
Could we?
I think I'm just going to have to tell him to go fuck himself.
No.
Is there somewhere between here and Middenheim?
Delberts, for example, sits between here and Middenheim.
Would Delberts work?
It's
Somewhere
the old
between?
capital of fucking Drakvold. It says
So if they're
the answer is no. It's an invasion. If he comes out in Middenheim, that's it. Unless he's got a reason to be coming down, it's an invasion. And if it's not an invasion, then what the fuck is it? He's fucked. I mean, we're just as well to fucking invade. He says as he stands up. I'm going fucking talking to him now, and he stomps out.
Wait,
Could we sneak Volcar north?
You might say
Let's
that
run.
he's gone.
Yeah,
Cool
no
runner.
way.
Wait, it's a trap!
Just
to see if he stops.
Yeah.
Run by Burgermeister, was it?
I'll follow
Yeah,
it.
but it was children, full of children of Ulric. It
If
doesn't
only just
matter.
to delay
or
him.
orcs. We don't know how
Yeah.
that went.
What if you got Volkmar to hand over the captaincy to you as the Order of the Silver Flame, and then you'd be taking Sigmarites to the Order of the Silver Flame? You're a captain and a hero of Middenheim, and it wouldn't be an invasion.
It's always going to be. You're
It's
not
always
going
going
to
to look like an
It
invasion.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the language is
It's,
around
it,
it.
it will look like.
Yeah.
It's-
So his
doesn't matter
argument
that-
is the only thing
Wait.
that will work is an even bigger force,
But
which
if-
means that it's going to be almost unstoppable as it gets to wherever it needs
If
to go.
Bildhaven has aligned with the Trots and so has Todbringer, then he's not invading, he's just walking into people who are aligned with the same people. Right? Like they're both working for the same side.
Yeah, but the
Coming
Ul-
here
the
wouldn't be the
Ulricans-
problem.
the
Not that the
Ulricans are
children
just-
of Ulric would care, but it wouldn't be
No,
an
but
invasion.
all the lords between Middenheim and here in Middenland wouldn't care that that Karaberg and Boris were aligned with the same person, because every land he went through, Boris would be invading, and they would choose whether to attack or not.
I mean, sure, yeah. Yeah,
Wouldn't
yeah.
they?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they're not
no,
going to
yeah,
know
yeah,
what's
yeah, yeah.
happening between Karaberg and
But
necessarily.
could we tell them?
Yeah, I mean, we could try.
So he's marching off ahead.
Can I catch up with him?
I mean, if you want to kind of catch up with him, sure. He's not running. He's just marching off, storming his way over to the Sigmarite camp. Apparently, he has no care about bodyguards or any equivalent. He's just stomping around, being
If only
You
we
know-
had an earshot.
yeah, quite being a bit upset. Stomp, stomp, stomp.
We might have
What do you want?
a suggestion.
Well, better be quick.
What if we were to disguise as Volkmar, isn't it?
He says, "Oh, fuck off,"
No.
and he stomps off.
In amongst the Knights
Gives him-
Panther and take him north to meet with Boris that way.
He said, "I'd be assassinated by the Panthers." I just fucking told that, and you hear the Panthers turn round. Fuck off! He says, as he goes, "Here, Volkmar, where the fuck are you?" The
I
chap
hope you guys are going to
freezes
come and
up.
catch up.
Yeah, we're not just staying in his tent. Unless.
Surrounded by a bunch of Knights Panthers who've been outed publicly as murderers.
Yeah,
No,
awkward.
well, they're potential murderers.
Everyone's a potential murderer.
Well, apart from me, I really am. Anyway,
Stomp, 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 as he makes his way over. And
If Lupold catches him before he says, I think we should have this conversation in the place of the Shining Rock.
he says, "Too fucking late. Volkmar, here, now!" He says. And,
At least element
is
was here, I guess.
Baron, you have something you want to say? I can't see how this can fucking work at all. He says. Yeah. He says.
Lupold will say it again, I think we should have this conversation in
He
the
says,
place
"Shut
of
the
Shining
fuck up! You got nothing to do with this. This ain't gonna work. So fuck you." He says, as in his turn. He says, "All right, I see. So you're saying no because you can't see how it works. Would that be correct? What if I provided you with an alternative?"
Interesting.
He says, "Well, what's your alternative?" He says, "Honestly, what's your alternative?" He says, "Well, your alternative is that you just say yes." It's very easy. Then you return to Middenheim and you bring everyone to Altdorf. He says, "And that fixes it all." And what if I decide no after? Like when I tell him and he says, "Fuck off." He says, "Send a letter." And that gives you a legitimate reason to have an entire invasion army. A wedding party. Attend all of. See? It's simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. An entire army. That'll keep them safe. That'll keep everyone safe. Fuck! Fuck! Fuck. You know, did he brief you? What do you mean? Says, did he brief you about the political sensitivities involved? Clearly he hasn't. He and I had a good talk, he says as he folds his arms. But you've clearly been sent down here because you're a man of single mind. And you understand what needs to be done when something needs to be done. And he trusted you to make the right decision. So let's just keep it nice and simple. Between you and me, he says, between you and me, Reichland to Middenheim, empire needs to be preserved, some fashion. You agree with that at least. He obviously wants to be the Wolf Emperor. Surely he would much prefer that it was claimed legitimately and he was actually the emperor, not just a small emperor of a small province or two in the north. But all of it. His family can have it. That's what's being offered, and it's what he wants. We know it's what he wants. It's what he said at the last vote. His father was there, and he denied Karl Franz. He did not give him his vote. And Boris supported his father with a very public speech that he held right in the centre of Altdorf, explaining exactly what he thought about young Karl Franz, as he put it. And he also explained that he thought that the Todbringers, his father, in fact, should be emperor. Well, this is it. This is the opportunity. It can happen. Keeping it simple. This is what he wants. Offering what he wants. It's also what we want. Because it keeps the empire strong. I am a Sigmarite. You almost certainly noticed. It says, this is what we believe in. Now, I happen to be from a particular order that is focused upon keeping the empire strong and keeping the cult strong, but keeping the empire strong. And this is the best outcome. There is no better alternative. The alternative is war. It's a war that no one will win. It doesn't actually matter who comes out on top 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the line. No one wins. This way, the Todbringers win and will sit on the imperial throne. Tell me that that is not what he wants to hear. Fuck! That's the problem. He says, it'd be easy if it weren't what you wanted to hear. Exactly. Now, you are authorised to make a decision on his behalf. I fully understand if he goes back in it, because after all, he's not here. But we could have this finished right now. We could even write a treaty. We don't need to. We could keep it nice and simple, a handshake. I trust you. You're Middenheim. Fuck. Well, I can tell by the fact that you've not said no, that you recognise that there is an outcome here that you want, he says. So, if that outcome is, and I shall spell it as clearly as I can, if that outcome, Middenheim, is that the Todbringers sit in the imperial seat as emperors, this is a bloodless route towards it. Empire stays strong.
Excuse me. Uwe will step up and then be like, why did I do this? I hate this.
By the way, I'm standing within 6 squares, right? Just to be clear.
Yeah, sure.
You say that the war will be done, but you will just be starting a new war. You kind of glossed over it in when we were inside. You currently are at war, and adding the Todbringers is not going to fix that. I think we need more information on that.
It will end it.
How? Give us more information than
There's
that.
nothing more to give. It will end it. Weight of numbers alone. It will end it. Everybody now understands that Boris is the only man who has conquered a province in living memory. He conquered Nordland. He made it part of the land of Middenheim, on behalf of his father. Now, not a lot of people like to discuss that out loud, but it is the truth. Is it not, Middenheim? Well, we're there, he says. We did a few things. Yes, I know you did, because I know you, Hunksa. He says, I met you about 15 years ago. He says, when we were signing the treaties, if you recall. No. He says, signing the treaties in Middenheim? He says, no, that came after. He says, no, not those treaties. No. This is signing the treaties that you wouldn't go to war with Nordland. Oh, right. Oh. He says, right, yeah, I remember that. Indeed. We met and we talked for a while. He says, you clearly have a very clear idea of what you want. And you know what Boris wants. It's why you're here. This fixes everything. So let's just fix it in place. He says, what can go wrong with a wedding? He says, oh, well, bloody hell.
Out of character question.
Yes,
Nuln is part of
Nuln.
Nuln, which is
It's a city-state that rules Wizenland as well.
which is a grand
Grand
province.
It's a province.
A province.
It's just a province. There's a grand province as a vote. A province is an area of land that includes many prime estates. So it's a province, not a grand province. The grand province is Nuln.
I know that seems weird because Null is smaller than
Yeah, no,
Visenland,
it may seem
it's
weird,
who has the
but
vote.
that-
Null has the vote.
Null has the
and
vote.
right now, Null is also ruling Visenland, but the vote is with Null, not with Visenland.
Indeed.
But didn't we just literally talk about Nuln going into Sudanland, which would...
They haven't pacified it yet.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
would be... Would it
And also,
be kind
Lupold's
of...
very deliberately not saying that.
Sure, but would it impact be comparable to Todbringer going into Nordland? Like, what's the scale?
If she does it successfully,
If she does it successfully, it will certainly have an impact. Of that, there is no doubt
but
at
it
all.
wouldn't count as conquering a province because Sudanland doesn't have an
But
then-
does
then
have an
in
elector.
Nordland, it
100%
does.
does.
It's got Toppenheimer.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
Tell
getting
Rune
mixed
for
up with where
Toppenheimers.
we are in the timeline.
Yeah.
she's off to get that rune fang.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
off chasing
So
that
the
rune fang right now.
Toppenheimers are the rulers of
Yes.
Sudanland just now.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, gotcha.
And yes, it absolutely
So
would
she
have
would
an
conquer a
impact.
province,
But this
yeah.
would come before that particular impact.
Sure, but let's assume that she could do it,
Mhm.
because we think that she potentially could with the information we have. So then, like, he's just glossed over the whole Nuln part of it all.
Well, he doesn't.
No one really knows.
not
of
known.
Nuln. Yeah.
He knows.
I know.
mean-
And he
I
passed it over to
literally
you.
left the day this happened.
I mean, I
And-
guess.
Yeah.
And the Emperor knows because if Lupold is with us, his messenger has got back to Altdorf.
Yes.
Because Leopold's travelled further
Oh,
to
the
get up.
fuck off messenger.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she wasn't telling him to fuck off. I'm invading Sudanland. Did she tell him that?
No, but it was
She
more
said,
so fuck
"Fuck
off.
off."
I'm not allying with the
Yeah, yeah,
Reichland.
yeah.
So they know that Nuln is a threat.
But they may have then decided to actually send a politician instead of somebody who's
Yeah,
bad at politics
quite.
and knows her. So they may be hoping they can still remedy it with politics, unaware of the fact that she's like 8 moves ahead of them.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he could say, "I'll go talk to Boris,"
This buys,
but like,
this buys us some time to have.
But he's,
I just think
it's
incorrect.
it's not
true.
suspicious, but he's really pushing for an answer right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Because if you get a yes now, then that upsets the alliance
Yeah.
between South and North.
What's about to happen?
Also, the trap, by the way, is getting them all down to Altdorf, where they can just go, oh, look, we got wizards, boom, that's a trap.
The colleges aren't as strong as they think, though. I think
Yeah, it's the truth.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you get all the leaders of...
it's still terrifying.
Yeah. That's still a trap.
Almost been talking already, so she'll just be like, it's like, why am I here? Captain Hunksa, my lord, I think Baron, we should take it back to Boris. I don't think making any decisions here and now would be
Instern
wise.
smiles
Yeah, I agree.
and says, so who decides, you or the child?
I agree too.
He says, I'm in! She can fucking marry him. Okay, and he turns around and walks off. Hinstern looks at you. Sorry. turns around.
Stab him.
Wait, who?
Game
Sorry.
recognized game.
Stern is stormed off. Is Volkmar
no,
no.
Hunks is
Hunks
So
and storms off.
because
Yeah.
sin.
none of you spoke up and the child had to do it.
Well, he would have just said who wins, you or an elf. If
Sure,
it
I
me,
mean,
to be
yeah.
fair.
Or a
You're
witch.
not unfair. He was just waiting for the right
An elf,
moment.
an inferior,
That's
a
a good
samurai,
toughie.
a
A witch.
witch,
Witch.
a southerner.
I might have got away with it because I could have tried to say I was a seer.
Yeah,
but
you might got away with
I
it.
might have got away with it. But
As
It was just you.
equally,
It's all on you.
Stern.
I don't think it was the right. I wasn't speaking because I did not think it was the right time to speak up.
Yeah,
So
quite.
we can have that
Turns
conversation,
around
we can have
and
that.
I'll say
you
to
can
him,
hear
but as he
as
says
can-
sorry, I'll
yeah.
say, no need to be sorry.
Good.
And smile mysteriously.
Nice.
As though we meant you all along.
You've got your scarves on.
Life, love it.
It's even more mysterious then.
And
Order
you
of the
will
Throne
both
have
here
gone?
says, draw up the 14th contracts. He says, we have a deal for marriage. And you hear, in reply, marriage? Fuck off, we're not marrying them, are we? It's what the Emperor wants, it's what the Emperor gets. He says, but that's going to bring a bloody invasion army down. They're never going to trust anything. Well, that's what we're going to have to get. He says, well, it'll be an unfortunate outcome, but diplomacy will win the day. He says, yes, my father. Interesting. So, we apparently have North going to marry South because of this. It's not Empire in ruins at all.
No, and on the plus side, if we're worried
It's-
about Altdorf falling, there'll be a
Empire-
whole new army there to protect
Empire
it.
ruins.
More to the point, though, we've got the built-in clause of Boris might say no.
Yeah.
And if we want to persuade someone to say no, it's Boris we persuade, not Hunksa. we get back to Middenheim and tell Boris that it's a bad idea.
It's
Yeah,
all
but he's-
great.
And we've
He's
got 2
speaking in
weeks
on
to
his
fit-
behalf and they're bringing up
It's all
contracts.
marvelous.
But he also said you can. I
Except-
fully expect that Boris might say no.
There is one last problem.
Oh, shite.
Stabby.
No. You hear it because you're currently going, oh, and then you catch it too, but you have a small moment of brain catching up with what you heard. No, the Jungfrau bows down in Nuln. Who the fuck is that?
I'll hide him. Get him from the Gerhard. Protect him.
That is coming from the Sigmarite camp, just over there, and you can even see them. 2 knights looking over. No, I was in the League. He says that's him. He says no, he's not. He's in fucking Nuln. I know. I was there just 3 weeks ago.
I mean, your father was a nun as well,
Yeah.
so it's not impossible.
Yeah, but they,
Yes.
but they do look different.
Yeah.
I'm gonna BDI
do.
those 2 knights. Who are
Yeah,
they?
yeah, but also no.
Not from a distance,
Yeah,
right?
quite.
I mean, do you want me to go try and
Yes.
smooth that over?
There's one way to be certain. He says,
I'll go. You go.
and he goes, it's not him. He's not blessed. He says, we have an imposter. He says, imposter. As Volkmar turns round and goes, fuck. And that's where we end things.